Subscribe, like the video, and, if possible, join Patreon. But if you don't have much money, you can support the channel by watching the novels on euroaudiobooks.com. Remember that you can participate in the polls so that your favorite novel gets published for free.
There are no signs of mutation. Next one, Lion made a summary, then lifted up the much heavier Kennedy and placed him on the bed outside the laboratory. At this moment, everyone couldn't help but jump up and scream and cheer. The next experiment was much smoother. With the lessons learned from Sangwon Kennedy, everyone was mentally prepared. Soon, Marvin, Elliot, Fatty, Carlos, and others were injected with the final form of the S virus one by one. And all of them were strengthened successfully, and no one mutated. In order to improve efficiency, they also joined Lion's work and helped inject the virus. At night, all personnel in the Provisional Government of the Republic of Colorado have completed the virus injection. Among more than 1,700 people, only one person was infected with the mutation, but he also recovered after being injected with antiviral serum. For the poor man who had this happen, Lion could only say good luck to him, because people escape from the mutant ending by injecting antiviral serum. Antibodies have been produced in the body. A second virus enhancement will no longer be possible. Therefore, in the next era of global evolution, these people are destined to become the abandoned children of the era. If we really want to find the culprit, we can only let them blame the world consciousness. Arrange for all people who have been strengthened by the virus to stay in the Institute for isolation and observation. Leon returned to the laboratory with Ada, Jill, and Shirley. This time, he injected the three of them with SS2 serum that incorporated the characteristics of the extremist virus. After serum injection, all three have super regenerative abilities, except Shirley, who is still growing. Gil and Ada have become supermen with a strength of over 40 tons and a running speed close to the speed of sound. And in the coming period, their physical fitness will continue to increase. But what surprised Leon was, after hearing about World Consciousness's choice of evolutionary potion, the three of them all expressed their understanding. They actually feel that they should not stifle the possibility of the world's continued evolution. This made Leon couldn't help but reflect. Did he misunderstand the world consciousness too deeply? Maybe the other party was not that radical after all. In the following days, the Stark brothers observed and confirmed that all those who had been successfully strengthened showed no abnormal symptoms. The temporary government formed by Gil began to spread the final form of the S virus throughout the city. For those who are willing to accept virus enhancement, the official will provide a complete set of services. People in the city clearly have faith in the interim authorities. As soon as the announcement was released, the registration location became crowded. Some people even called Jill the Goddess of Victory, shouting that they are willing to do anything for the Goddess of Victory. In the past month, Jill has been at the forefront, blocking the deadly attacks from super zombies for everyone. She has achieved what people want in this country. The other side, while the virus-strengthening work in Raccoon City is in full swing, Leon and Tony also completed the injection experiment of SS3 serum. Chapter 81 Dawn of Doom Underground Research Institute. Although everything is normal in the mouse experiment, Jarvis calculated that the probability of an accident is less than 1 in 10,000, and all your clones have been successfully strengthened. But are you sure you want to do this? Tony, this matter is risky. You have to think about it carefully. Leon repeatedly emphasized to Tony that there were risks in injecting SS3 enhanced serum, to ensure risks are minimized. He even found Umbrella's cloning technology before cloning experiments were performed. Until an hour ago, the 10 unconscious Tony clones had successfully completed their strengthening and were destroyed. He only agreed to Tony's real appearance this time. Okay, I'm very sure. Tony was already lying down on the test table. He buckled himself into metal rings and a waist restraint. You're like the second Pepper now. No, Pepper will not clone 10 of me and kill them one by one. Tony nodded at the instrument on the side. In short, I have never seen Leon who is so hesitant. Where's the decisive, brave boy from before? He is not a person who is frightened when he sees his brother lying on the test bed. This is what I decided to do and what I have to do. I also have something that I'm determined to pursue, Leon. So let's get started. Tony leaned on the cold countertop and took a deep breath. Don't hesitate anymore. Leon looked deeply at Tony, nodded, controlled the instrument, and injected the SS3 enhanced serum into Tony's body. The serum works very quickly. The syringe didn't even reach the bottom, and Tony, who had looked determined just now as if he wanted to sacrifice his life, began to scream. Leon suppressed the unbearable feeling in his heart and signaled Jarvis to record a video to record Tony's misery. If the reinforcement is successful, this is black material. If the reinforcement fails, sorry, it is impossible to fail to strengthen. The SS3 serum incorporates too many evolutionary factors, and the strengthening process after injection takes much longer than the final version of the S-virus. Leon watched with his own eyes as Tony's body turned red and was burned to char by the extremely high body temperature. Then the coke brittles and breaks apart, revealing Tony with pink skin like a newborn baby. The wound on his chest also healed as before during this process. But that's just the beginning. The blood rushed like a sea under Tony's skin. The bones cracked and shrank with creaking sounds, accurately snapping together into a perfect structure. His muscles first swelled like air, and then gradually tightened to the most suitable shape. Every muscle line is becoming perfect, and his streamlined body is second only to Lion. Even his height increased by 10 centimeters. It's over now. This old guy will be even more powerful in doing bad things in the future. Leon extremely suspected that the reason why Tony was so determined to inject the serum was because he wanted to become stronger and do bad things. The reinforcement continued for 2 hours. After it was over, Tony directly broke open the restraining metal, jumped off the test platform, and went straight to the cafeteria. An hour later, Tony, who had eaten food for 10 people, completed the physical fitness test with the help of Leon. The strength of one arm is 113 tons, and the fastest sprint speed is 423 meters per second. I think you can abandon the steel armor. Lion complained while holding the experimental record. The most important thing is that you can also control E-fungus, use your flesh to generate flames, or make body tissues grow to derive flesh and blood tentacles. You can even use your own blood to control others. Leon slapped his forehead. Honestly, your abilities make me think you are like a supervillain. FK. Tony yelled with a smile. One of his hands is burning with flames, and the other is controlling the movement of a group of mold with a radiant look in his eyes. This is indeed the ladder of human evolution. Leon, are you sure you don't want to inject? Leon shook his head. Superman is already invincible, so why bother with the help of serum? Speak English. This serum is of no use to me. Instead, it will lead my body to an unknown evolutionary path. Leon spread his hands. For example, turning into a tentacle monster or something. After all, the SS3 serum is made on the basis of complete human genes, and it can basically only allow humans to evolve. But it's not like I haven't gained anything. At least with this experience, it will be much easier to study Kryptonian bloodline in the future. Then you must call me to study together. I don't want you to wake up the next day and become the Doomsday. Tony said, I know. I'll call you when I go to DC World. Leon destroyed the experimental records casually. By the way, your mission in coming to this world has been completed. Do you want to send you back first? You still want to stay and help them eliminate the zombies, right? Tony patted Mark IV. I want to stay too. How can we save the world without me? I'm Iron Man. Iron Man, it's more appropriate for you to be called Muscle Man now. Leon said, you have been shirtless since just now. I can tell that you are very satisfied with the muscles created by the serum. Tony laughed and gestured, showing off his chest muscles. My muscles are no worse than yours now, Leon. By the way, don't forget to inject Pepper with the serum when you go back. She needs this. He thought for a moment. Let's just use SS2 serum for now. Whether type 3 can be applied to everyone still needs to be studied. Don't worry. I won't forget Pepper even if you don't tell me. Leon threw the clothes to Tony. Let's go, Muscle Man. It's getting late today, and I still have things to do. It's Iron Man. Just wait. I will use biotechnology on the armor and leave your supermark far behind at once. Tony said harshly. You will know when the time comes. There is no upper limit for Mark's armor. Okay, I'm waiting for your new armor. Leon waved his hand and left. Half a month passed quickly. The refugees in Raccoon City have basically completed S-virus enhancement. Each and every one of them turned into a fierce man with at least 5 tons of strength. So Gil began to form troops and prepare to march to the newly established states and other states to regain the fallen lands. During this period, Lion mass-produced the final form of the S-virus and randomly gave it to major survivor bases in various regions. Among them, the Rabbit Country received the largest dose of virus. So far, they have completely regained the border and have even begun to cross the Himalayas to help the completely occupied Asen Kingdom overcome the difficulties. Besides, every day, Leon will clear out zombies all over the world or go to space to bask in the sun. But when night falls in Raccoon City, he sometimes returns to the city to take a break. Ada and Jill have undergone earth-shaking changes after being strengthened with SS2 serum. Today, the two of them can be said to be a combination of a vice and a furnace. This gave Lion a very different feeling. As for Tony charged with the army during the day. His firepower is the most handsome guy on the battlefield. When encountering super zombies, he will take off his armor. So he became the most powerful boy. At night, Tony would retreat to the laboratory to transform his Mark suit. It's just that the process of transformation is always hidden. Leon didn't pry on purpose, and he didn't know what progress he had made. Anyway, a world pushed to the brink of apocalypse. Now, finally the dawn has risen. Lion's name began to spread all over the world. However, this person who brought hope was not called the Savior. Everyone honors him with one word: God on earth. Chapter 82, The End of the World time, passed quickly in the flames of war. 5 months flew by. The entire Resident Evil world has undergone earth-shaking changes in just 5 months. November 15th, Gil led the troops to regain the entire territory of Colorado, and the zombies in the territory were basically cleared. November 30th, Gil's troops successfully recaptured 4 states south of Colorado, including Texas. The number of new humans in the territory who have successfully been strengthened by the virus has increased to 1 million levels. December 25th. In addition to the old officialdom and the 7 states under its rule, the rest of Eagle Sauce's territory fell under Gil's command. The number of new humans reaches tens of millions. December 26th. After the old government spent its last Christmas, it surrendered to the Republic of Colorado. Eagle Sauce is unified throughout the territory. January 1st, 1999. The Republic of Severe, also known as the Republic of Survivors, was established, restructured into a republic, and made Raccoon City its capital. Lion is known as the father of the country and served as the first president. January 2nd. Lion resigned from the assembly, and the second president, Jill Valentine, took office. January 31st. All of North America came under the rule of the Severe Republic. All umbrella company remnants in the continent, as well as informal organizations such as HCF organizations and family organizations. All of them were destroyed by the new human warriors who came and concentrated fire. Among them, Weskier, the leader of Umbrella Corporation. He was even punched into the wall by Jill and could not be pulled out again. February 26th. Most areas of the world have been clear of zombies. The number of new humans has exceeded 300 million. Lion led the only remaining forces in the world to form an international coalition. After that, the entire America was governed by the Republic of Seville. All of Asia, all of Australia, and all of Africa are governed by the Rabbit Country, whose remaining population is still nearly 1 billion. The remaining tens of millions of people in countries such as White Bear and Gallic Chicken rule Europe together. In the future, the International Joint Organization will be responsible for coordinating the contradictions among the 3 major forces and promoting the integration of the world's nations when necessary. Co-chairman is Leon. The vice-chairman are Gil and Mr. Zhou from Rabbit Country. At this point, the months-long apocalypse comes to an end. This day was later designated as the new International Christmas. celebrate the birth of a new world and a new humanity. It also celebrates the arrival of the human god into the world to save the apocalypse and promote the integration of the whole world. March 30th, a new human joint force sent by the International Coalition smoothly bulldoze all remaining infected areas on Earth. Even the experimental base Umbrella secretly established on the seabed and the base in Antarctica. The doors were blown open and the zombies inside were pulled out, and the base was humanely destroyed. On this day, the Earth turns blue again. And on the second day, Leon finally received the reward promised by world consciousness. He was hanging alone between the Earth and the sun, with the golden sunlight hitting his face, and all the cells in his body were running in comfort. After 5 months in the sun, his one-arm strength has increased to more than 7 million tons, gradually approaching its limit. Now that he is basking in the sun, the growth rate of his strength has slowed down a lot. At a certain moment, invisible fluctuations suddenly came. The consciousness of the world is connected to Leon's brainwaves, convey emotions of joy and gratitude. At the same time, half of the authority was handed over to him. Leon felt something indescribable quickly integrating into his body. Suddenly the world in his eyes changed. It is no longer the sunlight, air, and dew seen by the naked eye. Nor is it the microscopic world that can be seen with supervision. Instead, it looks like a mixture of red, cyan, black, white, and other colors of air flow and light spots. He felt that his power was rising infinitely at this time, as if he had a fulcrum, and one force could produce 100 times, 1,000 times the effect. He just slid his finger in the void of the universe, and huge waves of hundreds of meters were set off on the vast sea of the Pacific Ocean below. Not only that, he can also consume his own vitality or lifespan or something like that. Come and change the destiny of anyone in this world, or fabricate something out of thin air that does not exist. Just like the enhancement given to him by the world consciousness before, and the special physique integrated into Tony's body. Those are all created by the world consciousness consuming its own upper limit. It's no wonder that the other party couldn't give him anything good before. The good things about feelings are all the flesh cut off from it. Leon understood. The so-called authority is a fulcrum that can leverage the entire world, and it is the ability to control a world. He looked around the universe, and his supervision with a limited distance could extend infinitely after being blessed by authority. He saw beyond the solar system and saw the truth about the resident evil world. Countless information naturally flowed into his eyes and penetrated into his brain. It was as if he was born to know these things and understand this information. It turns out that this world is only 10 solar systems in size. It can only be regarded as a small world as small as the number of sands in the Ganges. The themes of the world are evolution, mutation, and survival. When these three concepts cannot continue to be extended, the world will be destroyed. No wonder the world consciousness is always obsessed with promoting evolution. Now everything can be understood, but it doesn't end there. Soon the world consciousness rewarded another gift. Gene's self-locking ability, this ability turned into a point of light that appeared out of thin air, blended into Leon's body like water, and automatically became his innate skill. Thanks to this final form of the S-virus, global humanity has evolved and the world's consciousness has been raised. Otherwise, it really wouldn't be able to give this last gift. This ability can be used actively or can be kept passively. Leon tried to pluck out a hair and used authority to empower his supervision. He found that the DNA strands in the hair follicles completely changed to what he looked like before he was 18 years old, without any trace of Krypton. It's a really good ability. Leon smiled with satisfaction and communicated with his mind. I have received all your rewards. It is a pleasure to cooperate. Remember to come to me next time you need help. World consciousness does not understand that human hearts are sinister. It just thinks Lion is pretty good. Immediately conveys feelings of joy and peace of mind. Then it left automatically, and the invisible fluctuations subsided like a tide, spreading to every corner of the world. All the benefits that should be obtained have been obtained, the battles that need to be fought have been fought, and the task of treating Tony has been overfulfilled. Leon floated outside the Earth, silently looking at the blue planet. It's time to leave too. He appeared in Raccoon City as if teleported. Now, in this world, with the blessing of authority, his strength has reached the peak of the Heavenly Father level. It can be said that it is no different from a real god. Leon quickly found Ada and Jill and explained his intention to leave. The two of them were full of reluctance, but they couldn't give up everything in their native world now. Especially Jill, who is now the chairman and shoulders the responsibility for the survival of hundreds of millions of people. And it is impossible for her to leave just now. Wait for me, Leon, and when this country returns to peace, I will leave with you. Jill said sincerely. I'll go with her. She can't manage such a big place by herself. Ada crossed her arms. But before you leave, you have to do some things well enough. It's not like I won't come back. Time flows faster here. I will come back often to bask in the sun. Leon has informed the two of them of his abilities. And Shirley, just let her leave with me. It's not convenient for anyone to take care of her here. You can say whatever you want, but now, do what you need to do first. Ada grabbed Leon's collar. You owe me a lot of salary. Leon found Tony the next morning and explained his intention to leave. It can be said that Tony was extremely happy during this time. Not only has he become a hero that attracts everyone's attention, but the name Iron Man is well known all over the world. The progress in the development of steel armor has also been impressive. But he still kept quiet about the specific results and vowed to give Lion a big shock. Heard to leave, Tony was still a little reluctant. He has already developed feelings for the fans in this world. As soon as he went out, the adoring eyes of Bud and Elliot's little fans made him feel full of accomplishment. But his desire to go home is not weak either. He still missed Pepper and the big bed at home. Then let's go destroy the materials that need to be destroyed, and then go say goodbye to everyone. To avoid another crisis like the one a few months ago, Leon used heat rays to destroy all the products and materials of the two brothers' experiments. Afterwards, the two said goodbye to their friends one by one. In the central square of downtown Raccoon, there are 3 statues of Leon, Gil, and Tony. Leon and Tony waved to the people who were crying. They stood on both sides, holding the bouncing Shirley Birkin. Disappeared in the world of Resident Evil. Chapter 83, Shirley's new home, familiar underground garage. 3 figures, 2 large and 1 small, suddenly appeared. The electronic equipment in the garage immediately went off an alarm. Disinfectant spray sprayed out in all directions, covering the 3 people, and it took half a minute to stop. Is it the evening of the next day now? Tony looked at the clock on the wall. Only 1 day has passed, so it's not bad. Tony, let's not talk about the time. I really think your arrangement is a bit exaggerated. After the spray stops, on the other side, Leon opened his armor and came out, wiping Shirley's face, which was wet with spray, with the palm of his hand. This damn sterilizer has turned our little Shirley into an ugly duckling, huh? He held the innocent little face. Look at Shirley's big, innocent eyes. Tony, doesn't your heart hurt? No, it's all this damn retarded system. Why does disinfection take so long? Tony also took off his armor and squatted in front of Shirley. Oh, look at this poor little princess. Her hair has turned into a wet towel. He slapped Mark IV behind him. Uncle Tony is going to vent your anger. Shirley's slender eyebrows twitched and she puffed her mouth. You two, could it be that you did it on purpose? She was very touched at first by being cared for so carefully. But in fact, when these 2 people expressed their concern, their suppressed smiles were too dazzling. This suddenly reminded Shirley. While in the central square of Raccoon City, these 2 bad guys obviously weren't wearing armor at first, but after Leon said, "Do you remember the disinfection procedures that were set when you left?" The 2 villains exchanged glances, put on their battle armors, and each of them held her hand thoughtfully. Shirley didn't think much of it at the time. I just feel that I am about to go to a new world, and I feel anxious and endlessly happy at the same time. After all, when she gets there, she will usher in a new world and a new life, and she will be able to follow Brother Leon all the time. But now that I think about it, these 2 bad guys obviously did it on purpose. Little Shirley was so angry that she flattened her mouth and looked at Leon with her big watery eyes and stopped talking. You still said that. Leon pushed Tony when he saw something bad happened. Sherry was so angry, and you were still laughing here. You have no conscience. Then he picked up Shirley with a big smile and put it on his shoulders. Shirley, don't be angry. We don't want to be angry with the bad guy. It's all his fault. He just likes to tease people. Come on, I'll show you your room. Leon, hey, carried Shirley upstairs. The little girl was amused and giggled after a while, as if she had forgotten that she was the only one who was sprayed with disinfectant for half a minute. Apparently, there's no shortage of vacant rooms in the Stark mansion. Shirley was placed in the innermost room. After Leon introduced her to the smart devices in the room one by one, he left temporarily and asked her to sort out her belongings first. Little Shirley stayed alone on the sofa for a while, then jumped down and ran around the room on tiptoes. Whether it is curtains or lights that can be controlled by voice or gestures, it's still the holographic projection that pops up many function buttons with just a tap. It all made her feel novel. Originally, at this time, she should have felt worried because she suddenly came to a strange environment. But the pranks played by the two bad guys in the underground garage left Shirley with no sense of alienation. All her attention was focused on various novel intelligent machines. In a post-apocalyptic environment like the Resident Evil world, most production has come to a standstill. Clean food and water are about to become luxuries. In such an environment, Shirley felt like she had become an ancient person. And now she is an ancient person who suddenly broke into the modern world. After exploring the room for 2 or 3 hours, Shirley's curiosity was finally satisfied. Then she immediately ran into the bathroom, clicked and drew on the electronic screen, put her little doll on the sink, and took a comfortable bath. Night after dinner, Leon knocked on the door again and found Shirley. How are you getting used to it? After all, you will be living here for the next few days. Leon and Shirley sat side by side. I think it's all very good, but it's so surprising. Brother, it's actually 2008 here, and everything is so advanced. Shirley drew a circle in the air with her hands and asked tentatively, haven't you lived here before? Are you going to move to another place in a few days? No. Tony and I have been living here since we were children. Leon didn't understand Shirley's thoughts for a while. When he saw the girl's anxious expression, he realized that it was the stay for a few days that had caused Shirley to misunderstand. Don't think nonsense. Since I brought you to this world, I will definitely take good care of you. Leon rubbed Shirley's head. He grabbed his neck with both hands again. Otherwise, if Jill finds out, she will definitely kill me with a click. Giggle. Sister Jill is a bit violent, but she can't beat you, brother. Shirley felt relieved immediately, and her eyes narrowed in laughter again. Leon explained with a smile, I will only stay for a few days because I will move to New York later, and you will follow me then. Otherwise, I wouldn't feel comfortable leaving you alone with Tony to take care of you. He knew very well how bad Tony was at taking care of children. Moving to New York? Shirley thought of the New York that had been razed to the ground in her own world. Are you going to go to college? She remembered Leon mentioning going to college. Not for the time being. I have established an organization there, and I have to go check it out. Also, the Stark Group is going to build a building there, so I have to keep an eye on it. Sounds awesome. What kind of organization is it? Is it like Umbrella? How should I put it? Judging from the purpose of the organization, it seems to be similar. Leon took out a storybook. Tomorrow I will take you to meet some sisters in the organization, and you will know then. As for now, do you want to tell you a few bedtime stories? Shirley's eyes shone, and she nodded hurriedly. William and Unico never told her stories. I'm going to bed now. Little Shirley jumped off the sofa, jumped on the bed, and covered herself with a quilt, leaving only one head exposed, like a baby bird waiting to be fed, with I'm ready to listen to stories written all over her face. Leon laughed dumbly. It was his decision to adopt Shirley, and he also received Tony's support. In the original story, this little girl was so pitiful that it made people feel heartbroken. When she was 12 years old, she was hunted down by her mutated father and treated coldly by her mother. After narrowly escaping from death, he was controlled by official organizations and used for human experiments on the G virus. It was not until the age of 26 that one gained limited freedom. But even so, she did not become world-weary because of the terrible experience. Instead, after the suffering, he chose to embark on the path of protecting more people from being harmed by biochemical viruses. How can such a strong girl not be admired and liked? Okay, now let's start with Anderson's fairy tales. Have you read Anderson? What he wrote at the beginning was actually. Leon sat on the edge of the bed, his tone as calm as water flowing around a canal. Soon Shirley fell into sleep, and her breathing gradually became longer. Children just fall asleep quickly. Good night, Shirley. Leon closed the book, gently combed Shirley's hair, closed the door, and left the room. He then walked to the laboratory, and as soon as he entered the door, he saw Tony covering his suit with a black cloth in a hurry. Leon, remember to knock on the door next time you enter the laboratory. Tony looked angrily when he turned around. Chapter 84, New Organization Building. Knock on the door? Is there a door to this laboratory? It's all made of glass. Leon walked over. What are you doing? Why did you prepare the masking props in advance? Is it specifically used to protect me? Looking at the shape, this is your new armor. I didn't see you carrying it when you came back. Leon was curious and wanted to lift the black cloth, but Tony slapped his arm with a knife. Back off. Stay away from my baby. Keep a distance of more than 3 meters. Tony opened his hands like an eagle protecting its cubs. What are you doing? Leon stretched out his finger and pointed. Are you playing this trick? Did you forget that I can see through it? Who would have thought that Tony put his hands on his hips? See through? You can try it now. Leon raised his eyebrows and turned on the perspective, but failed to see through the black cloth. He was stunned for a moment, then realized, thank you very much. You also plated the cloth with lead? Are you trying to build an anti-Superman suit? You're wrong. Tony hugged his shoulders and sneered. There will be anti-Superman armor in the future, but this armor will definitely exceed your knowledge. So before it is officially unveiled, I can't let you see it even once. Tony was extremely confident. Just wait. When the day comes for the battle with the 10 Rings gang, you will definitely be surprised like a frog jumping out of a well for the first time. Does that mean there's still 1 month left? Leon looked at the humanoid armor covered in black cloth. Then I hope you can really shock me then, rather than make me laugh. Tony waved his hand. So what are you going to say when you find me? If you have nothing to do, leave quickly. I will continue to build the armor. I plan to take Shirley to New York tomorrow and ask you if you want to come with me. Leon shrugged. Now it seems you can't make time. New York? To your new office building. Yes, go find Natasha, get Shirley's ID, and introduce her to the widow agents. I have no objection, but I really can't leave tomorrow. Please say hello to the girls for me. Tony said, one last question. In other words, from tomorrow onwards, Shirley will also be called Stark. No, let's call it Birkin. Leon shook his head. Although her 2 parents are not very good, this surname is the only connection between her present and the past. We can't change the world, and we really have to cut off Shirley from everything in the past, right? That was just as terrifying as denying the first 12 years of her life. Well, it's hard for me to refute you this time. Tony nodded. I didn't expect the big boy who is always rebellious to be so empathetic. Who is rebelling in this family? Are you sure you're not talking about yourself? Leon threw Tony a slap on the back of the head and went upstairs. Early the next morning, Leon took Shirley, who had had breakfast, to fly to New York. He flew through the clouds, and little Shirley screamed and exclaimed one after another along the way. The 2 finally landed on the roof of a 30-story office building in the Franklin district. After landing, Shirley raised her hands in the air and jumped up and cheered. It's great. It feels completely different from the feeling of flying. Do it again, brother Leon. Do it again when you go back. No problem, no problem. Leon swiped his card to open the alloy door on the roof. When you go back, you can fly as long as you want. As soon as the 2 entered the door, a notification sound came from the electronic system. Master Lion, welcome to the new technology building. Jarvis's subsystem maintains the operation here. New Technology Building. The company in this building used to be called New Technology. Leon led Shirley into the elevator room. Yes, before it was acquired by you. This place belonged to the New Technology Light Industry Manufacturing Company. The establishment of a new organization requires an apparent headquarters in New York, considering that New York may face countless crises in the future. Lion chose this office building, which was not too tall, but could not be said to be short either. This kind of building can be used in a regular manner, and you won't feel distressed if it collapses. As for the business process of all acquisitions and subsequent renovation and renovation work, it was Natasha who took the widow agents with the help of Jarvis. Today is the first time that Leon has walked in here. Is Natasha in the office building now? Leon asked. She's dealing with Pioneer in Tennessee, Master. Oh, right. I almost forgot after staying in Resident Evil for a few months. She said before that she wanted to acquire Pioneer technology under Stark's umbrella. Leon patted his forehead. How is her progress there? Do you need help? Miss Natasha is currently fighting with the other party's president and cannot respond to your question for the time being. Jarvis said, is the acquisition process so violent? I really caught up with the time. Leon looked in the direction of Tennessee. The line of sight penetrates layers of barriers. Seeing Natasha doing it, Killian was kicked all over the place. Hey, that must be painful, Leon muttered. Killian, who has not been injected with the terminal virus, is certainly far from Natasha's opponent. Leon stopped paying attention. Just solving an immature pioneering technology, Natasha and the widow agents had it easy. He changed the subject. How many people are there in the office building now? There are 145 agents who are undergoing renovation work in the building, Master. The top agents are used to decorate the house, and there is probably no one except Leon. But the widow agents enjoyed it too. This building will only be used by them from now on, transformed by their own hands. Not only can you build the look you want, but you can also experience the feeling of being in charge of yourself. Best of both worlds. Leon still remembers it. In the movie, Yelena just took the initiative and changed the button style of the coat, but she felt that the coat was very precious, because that was the first time in her life that she experienced the taste of freedom. Most of the widow agents are here. They really like decorating. Leon sighed with emotion and asked again, where is Yelena? Where is she? She is painting a mural in the lobby on the first floor, Master. Mural? A question popped up in Leon's head. Let's go to the first floor and take a look. Is there any mural in the decoration design? No, Master. Jarvis replied immediately. The first floor has been selected for you. The elevator starts to go down. Shirley has been holding Leon's hand quietly, observing the surroundings with curiosity, silently writing down the names mentioned by Leon. Soon the elevator door opened. Before I even stepped out, a mural with red and blue as the main color came to my face. It was a Superman cartoon. The face of Superman in the painting is very similar to that of Leon, but he wears a traditional uniform, that is, wearing underwear outside. Leon's head immediately shut down. Brother Leon, that's you. You look so handsome. But why are you wearing your red underwear outside? Little Shirley added. Chapter 85-2 Seals, that's not me. Leon tried to defend, but the smiling cartoon face on the wall made him feel powerless. At this time, the sound of quarrels was heard in the distance. Leon took Shirley out of the elevator. His eyes swept across the walls, and there were faintly bulging blood vessels on his forehead. The first floor of this building covers an area of tens of thousands of square meters. Every small workshop and office that once existed has been demolished. Now, there's only a central reception desk, guest lounges separated by transparent glass on both sides, and elevators that go straight up and down. This design is said to have come from a widowed agent. She previously ran a multinational design agency for Red House. When designing this building, she used simplicity, meditation, and release as the themes and led her team to conceive the drawings overnight. Now, when I walk in and take a look, the design of the building is indeed spacious, which makes people feel relaxed and happy at first glance. But what's up with the various cartoon paintings covering the walls? Don't you think it's awkward to paint colorful and complicated patterns in a simple glass room? Most importantly, why are they all Superman? Or is it Superman in underpants with his Leon face drawn? Leon took a deep breath and covered Shirley's eyes, feeling that his reputation would be in jeopardy today. Look at the other side at the end of the first floor. A dozen widow agents gathered together to argue. Leon lets go of his super hearing. The drawing here is wrong. Listen to me, boss, his chest muscles are not that small. I checked them myself. Yelena's voice was whirring. And this mural of Superman versus Batman should be painted like this, with the boss clamping Batman's head with his biceps. It's full of power. It's so cool. No, someone retorted. We have already painted a mural of Superman clamping Wonder Woman's head with his biceps. Here we should have Superman use his latissimus dorsi to hit Batman. This is a good idea. Several people agreed. Then draw this and give the boss a surprise when he comes. Yelena waved her fist. Surprise? Yelena, please define what is a surprise. Leon's voice sounded behind everyone. He lifted Shirley and fell from the air. The surprise is, of course, the things on the wall that I carefully designed. As soon as Yelena turned around, she saw Leon's unkind eyes and had a premonition that she was in trouble. She became hesitant. Well, the surprise is that whatever the boss says is whatever it is. Leon slapped Natasha on the forehead like Natasha was used to. Don't do these fancy things. It's just a surprise to me. Boss, don't you like Superman? That's why I drew so many. Yelena felt aggrieved. These are all drawn with my heart. Then is this me you drew? Have you ever seen my uniform look like this? Leon asked. Yelena was stunned for a moment. I understand. Leon resisted the urge to scold you. You know what, you beast. You understand again? I see. It turns out that you don't like wearing underwear, boss. You're not as perverted as in the comics. Yelena clapped her hands. She held up 2 oil brushes. Then I'll change my underwear right now. Leon's eyes went dark. What do you mean by not liking to wear underwear? It's all such nonsense. But there's a child next to him. Look at little Shirley again. Her eyes are wide open. Her mouth is open in an O shape, and she is looking back and forth between Leon and Superman on the wall. Don't listen to this guy's nonsense. Leon pinched Shirley's cheek and pinched it. She has a brain problem. Oh. Shirley, whose side face was bulging, nodded repeatedly. Leon shook his head and looked at Yelena again. I am beginning to regret letting you become the 2nd-generation Black Widow. Why, boss? Yelena's eyes were filled with confusion. Because I'm afraid that one day all the other widows will be assimilated by you. Leon waved his hand to the other widows. I have no other requirements. You decide how to decorate this place. But my face must not appear on the murals again, no matter what kind of image it is. Hearing this, more than a dozen widows nodded in agreement, and each of them was actually a little disappointed. Yelena, come with me. Leon sighed and got into the elevator with Yelena and Shirley, who kept making eye contact, except that the first floor was painted by Yelena to look like a DC comic fan club. Everything is fine on other floors. The widow agents divided their work and worked together. Some are manipulating robotic arms to install alloy mezzanines. Some were holding lithium electric drills, needle-nose pliers, and wearing protective masks to repair circuits. Hundreds of people are showing off their skills. All of them are all-around experts who can climb mountains and swim in the sea. Leon took Shirley to greet the widow agents one by one. Finally, Yelena was arranged to lead Shirley to deal with the identity issue. As for when the two left, Shirley quietly asked, Brother Leon's muscles are really that beautiful? In Yelena's nodding gesture, Leon pretended not to see or hear. For the rest of the day, Leon just walked around the building casually. When he met a widowed agent who needed help, he stepped forward to lend a hand. As for Shirley, she had been assimilated by Yelena. After finishing their business, the two ran up and down the building together, playing hide and seek. Perhaps because of her age, the little girl was very popular among the widows. When they saw such a lively girl, it was like they saw themselves before being sent to the Red Room. Every time it was Shirley's turn to look for hidden Yelena, she would get subtle reminders from widows. It wasn't until the evening, after having dinner with everyone, that Leon took Shirley and left. Goodbye, sister. Brother Leon said that we will move to New York in a while, and I will come see you then. Shirley and Yelena said goodbye reluctantly. Yelena put her hands on her mouth and shouted, Shout, Shirley, I will miss you. Boss, you have to come to New York quickly. No, stay away from Shirley. It's best to consciously turn your back every time we meet. Leon couldn't understand from the bottom of his heart how Yelena and a girl as young as Shirley became friends. Could it be that it's because the two people's real mental ages are so different? Boss, how could you do this? Yelena bent forward in frustration. It was another fast flight in the air, and Shirley, who had played all day, was still cheering and screaming with energy. When he got home, Leon put down Shirley, and suddenly his ears twitched. He raised his finger to signal Shirley to lower her footsteps, and the two of them walked quietly to the stairs. Two heads, one big and one small, poked out from the corner. In the laboratory, Pepper and Tony, wearing only vests, were intertwined, their heads twisting back and forth. Wow, is that Uncle Tony's new friend? Shirley has seen Tony do this action with many people. I think that lady may be Tony's only friend in the future. Leon touched his chin. He means it this time. The two of them had never done anything so intimate before. Now, there's obviously a breakthrough in the relationship. Leon could tell at a glance that Pepper had just experienced the strengthening of the SS2 serum. It is estimated that Tony took advantage of the time when the strengthening was over and Pepper was so moved that he finally finalized the relationship. Wow, our prodigal son will also settle down in the future. Leon sighed. So, are those big waves in the Resident Evil world actually Tony's last bachelor party? Seeing the two people's actions getting more and more intense, he quickly covered Shirley's eyes and retreated upstairs. Let's go back to the house and tell a story, Shirley. It's just two seals fighting for grapes. There's nothing interesting to see. After Leon put Shirley to sleep, he also wanted to take a rare nap at home. But apparently he was a little naive. Two people with tens of tons of strength, but no biological force field, were exercising intensely at home. The movement was so loud that it seemed like the floor was shaking. People can't help but worry whether this luxurious villa will collapse in the next second. These are not two seals bickering. They're clearly two elephants singing and dancing. Leon tossed and turned and finally rolled out of bed helplessly. He knew it was indeed time for him to move out. Tony and Pepper confirmed their relationship, so naturally they had to have their own private space. Not to mention the movement of their movements. There is no room for a third person. Leon decided to talk to Tony about moving tomorrow. As for tonight, let's go back to Resident Evil to bask in the sun. He planned to take Shirley with him when he left, but the little girl could still sleep extremely soundly in this house that was shaking and making loud noises. He even smacked his lips and changed his posture from time to time. In the end, Leon had to go to the Resident Evil world alone, preparing to bask in the sun for a few months before returning. With his current strength, the energy required to travel through the biochemical world is less than 1,000th of his physical strength. So he did not hesitate to choose to go back to the moment he just left and disappeared into the Marvel Universe. Chapter 86, Gene Optimization. Early the next morning, Leon appeared in his bedroom at 7 o'clock on time. He spent 40 days in Resident Evil, and just 8 hours had passed when he came back. In more than a month, he gained another 30,000 tons of strength. He also filled Ada and Jill's salary, by the way. Now as his strength grows, the energy contained in his body becomes larger and larger. Night falls every day from now on. He can use the time difference to go to the Resident Evil world to improve his strength. Even when going back and forth between the two worlds, he can still travel back to the last time he disappeared, as if he had never left. The weather in Los Angeles is exceptionally good today. The early morning sunlight flows on the sea under the cliff and flows into the house. While it was still early, Leon went to the kitchen and started preparing breakfast. After a while, Shirley rubbed her eyes and found it. Tony and Pepper also got up quickly. In the past, based on the amount of exercise they both exercised last night, they would have been admitted to the ICU this morning. But after being injected with the serum, the two of them were completely different from before. Apparently, the house was almost demolished a few hours ago. As a result, now they're all red-faced, sitting at the table energetically, eating the Xylong Bayo prepared by Leon. Everything is happy at the table. Leon introduced Shirley to Pepper. She rubbed the little girl's cheek and also liked this well-behaved girl. After almost eating, Leon talked about moving. You mean you're going to move to New York with Shirley? Tony looked at Pepper with a bun in his mouth. That's right. The new companies and organizations happen to be there, so I can take care of them. Leon put the dishes in the dishwasher. That's it, that's not bad. Tony grabbed Pepper's hand on the table. It's okay if you go away. Then no one will stop me from taking the beautiful woman home all day long. Ouch. Pepper pinched Tony hard. Which other beautiful woman do you want to take home? Oh, who do you think it could be? Who else is a beauty here? Tony screamed strangely, then looked at Shirley. Of course, Shirley is a little beauty, not a formal beauty. Pepper was angry and laughing. She always had trouble with Tony. Why do you think about these things every day and you have to tease me? I can't help it. Tony blurted out the love words. Some people are so beautiful, but they don't know it at all. I have to remind them. Huh? So you were talking about me? Pepper was stunned for a moment. Pepper, you haven't looked in the mirror since you injected the serum. To be honest, you can definitely fascinate Tony now. Leon took out a mirror from somewhere and handed it to Pepper. SS serum serves as a genetically optimized, even evolutionary type of medicine. Improving the appearance of the injector is only the most basic ability attached to it. After all, when a person's genes evolve, the immune system in the body is greatly strengthened and the skeletal muscles become perfect. How could this person not look beautiful or handsome? You must know that human aesthetics is based on the pursuit of superior genes. The better the genes of a person, the more their appearance conforms to the definition of beauty. Just like Gil and Ada said to Leon several times, said he was like a succubus in human form. Just smell his natural scent. Their bodies will spontaneously produce craving impulses. That is to say, the body is limp, the legs are weak, the eyes are as moist as silk, and it is impossible to walk. It's a genetic desire. If Leon hadn't been covering himself with a biological force field, I don't know how many girls would have fallen. This shows how much genetic strength affects personal charm. As for the SS serum, although it cannot transform a person's genes into something as powerful as Leon, it should not be underestimated. Nowadays, Pepper has fair skin and beautiful appearance, and her figure is just the right amount of slim. If she is too thin, she is not too thin, and even her freckles are gone. Is this really me? Oh my God. Tony, what did you inject me with yesterday? Pepper covered her mouth in disbelief. She thought she was just getting stronger. It was only through the previous strenuous exercise that she mastered the surge in power. Unexpectedly, even his appearance has changed drastically. In the mirror, she still has some vague outlines and temperament from before. It can be said to be another perfect version of Pepper. Are you happy now? Tony winked. No need to thank me. After all, I can't tolerate my assistant being compared to others. Tony, thank you. Pepper was already used to Tony's awkwardness. Her eyes were fixed on Tony, full of tenderness. Seeing the distance between the two getting closer and closer, Leon couldn't help but cough slightly. These two seals, are you sure you want to start doing things now that Shirley can't see? Shirley blinked and looked at Leon. What's going on, brother Leon? Why can't I see it? Isn't it just two people hugging each other and grabbing grapes? She had seen Tony do this many times before at the police station. Cough, cough, cough. Tony suddenly coughed violently. Leon's words couldn't sway Tony even a little bit. But Shirley's innocent question made him immediately embarrassed. Tony and Pepper quickly separated. Tony adjusted his sleeves to cover up his embarrassment and couldn't help but wave to Leon. Okay, hurry up, hurry up. Don't you have to move? Hurry up. You will be angry with me at home every day, and you can move as far away as possible. This time Pepper actually agreed. It just so happens that there are only more than 2 months until the start of school in September. It would be good for you, Lion, to go to New York in advance to adapt. Furthermore, Stark Group plans to build a building in Manhattan and move its headquarters there. It will be very convenient for us to meet then. Leon raised his hand. Thank you to both parents for their approval. Then, I will take Shirley to see the house today. Wait a minute. Are you and Shirley the only ones in the house in New York? Pepper thought of something. She had some doubts. Are you sure you can take good care of yourself and also take good care of Shirley at the same time? You are just a big kid yourself. No matter how old the child is, it seems that he will always be a child in the eyes of his parents. Otherwise, Shirley should leave it to me. Pepper thought again that she was busy with company affairs and couldn't get away. Don't worry, There will actually be other people there, Lion said. I have built a company with many excellent girls in it. They will come to help take care of Shirley. And Shirley is very smart and can take care of herself. Leon pointed at Tony. You can ask Tony about the specific situation. I won't say more. He patted Shirley on the head, and the little girl jumped off the chair obediently and grabbed his hand naturally. I'm leaving. If you have anything to do later, please contact me. Leon flew up with Shirley. Maybe I'll see you when you get to New York. Two figures, one large and one small, disappeared from the restaurant in the blink of an eye. Even the strengthened Pepper failed to capture Lion's trajectory. Oh, Leon, he has become so strong now. Pepper opened her mouth slightly. He is really becoming more and more like Superman. Yes. He has grown up, and we don't need to worry about it anymore. Let's go. We haven't finished what we said before. Tony gradually approached Pepper. Chapter 87 Underground Base. We'll be living here after that. In Brooklyn, Leon landed with Shirley. In fact, he had bought this residence in New York together with the organization building before. The address was in a residential neighborhood a few blocks away from the building. He bought an entire high-end condominium with a large flat floor. The apartment has 26 floors, with 4 units on each floor. He specially asked Natasha to open the 4 rooms on the 16th floor, intending to use them for his temporary residence. Now there is an additional Shirley who is carrying bags and checking in. As for other floors, they are freely allocated by the widow agents. There aren't many of them living in New York, and there's enough room here for them. Leon took Shirley around the house. First, we showed her through each functional area and then assigned her to a room. Then we set off to the building together. Oh yeah, I can see Sister Yelena again so soon. Little Shirley cheered. Leon slapped her on the top of her head. You little carrot, why do you like Yelena so much? Don't be fooled by her. But Sister Yelena is very nice, and she smiles very kindly. Kind? Leon recalled Yelena's silly look when she smiled at him, and it seemed that she was indeed kind. After all, a fool can have any bad thoughts. His thoughts are so straight that he can run on the highway. How can he not be kind? You can learn her strengths, fighting skills, but don't learn her way of thinking. Okay, Shirley nodded obediently. The distance between the building and the residence is indeed extremely close. Leon took Shirley to the roof of the building in a blink of an eye. It happened that Natasha was also in the building at this time. She was dusting off the dust with her sisters. As soon as she saw Leon, she wiped her hands and handed over a document. The equity transfer document of Pioneer Technology. Leon took the document and flipped through it. Well done, Anna. I saw it all yesterday. Their president was beaten to a pulp by you, especially the one with the lower leg. It's very beautiful. What happened to Killian in the end? He asked. Going to jail. Natasha wiped the dust from her face with a towel. I contacted the police through Stark's channels and sent the evidence and people to jail. It should not take a few days before there will be reports on the news that he was sentenced to more than 10 years in prison. Leon put away the documents. I thought you would kill him directly. No. If it's not necessary, let's leave it to the law. Natasha blinked her right eye. After all, Stark's power is enough to give him a fair punishment. Otherwise, I will most likely kill him. It's a very fair decision. Leon nodded. Natasha has killed enough people in the past dozen years. She is not very willing to kill people except when necessary. Who is this little girl next to you? Why don't you introduce her to me? Natasha noticed Shirley and smiled at her. Then he quietly asked Leon, could she be your brother's daughter outside that you didn't know before? No, she's a girl I adopted and is temporarily registered with Tony. You know, although I'm almost 19, I am not yet old enough to adopt a child. Her name is Shirley. Leon touched Shirley's head. Shirley, this sister is the Natasha I mentioned before. She lives downstairs from us. You can come to her if you need anything in the future. Okay. Shirley showed a shy smile. Hello, Sister Natasha. Sister Yelena mentioned you yesterday and said you are very powerful. Yelena? Will she still mention me? Natasha knelt down. Her first impression of this little girl was very good. She and Yelena are already close friends. Leon shrugged. Yesterday, they played hide and seek for a day. That's really what Yelena would do. Natasha also felt that her sister was childish sometimes. Let's go and find Yelena. I have something to talk to you two about. Leon took the two of them to the first floor in the elevator. After one night of absence, all the murals here have changed, although it is still Superman fighting various DC heroes. But Superman's face was changed to a classic butt chin. As soon as the three lions appeared, Yelena came on the stage with a sliding tackle. "Welcome, boss." "Boss, what do you think of the current murals?" As soon as she met, she couldn't wait to show off her paintings, with her hands spread wide and her teeth grinning brightly. "It looks much better now," Leon commented, "but I suggest you add some superheroes from our universe to it." "Our universe?" Yelena was confused. "Do you mean Iron Man? Isn't it a bit monotonous to add him alone?" "There will be more and more in the future." Leon motioned for her to follow. "Let's go to the underground laboratory." The elevator continued to go down and stopped on the second underground floor. As early as last week, the Widow agents had given priority to decorating this place. Jarvis authorization is now required to enter. The elevator door opened, and an area completely different from the superstructure suddenly came into view. Rows of ring-shaped fluorescent lamps light up into the deepest part of the elevator one after another when it opens the door. The entire spacious space is illuminated as brightly as an open-air platform. The mainly white hall is the same as the first floor, covering tens of thousands of square meters and is regularly cut by some glass. Several people looked around at the elevator entrance, with a clear view of the modern dome and the smooth and dust-free pearl white marble floor. On hundreds of neat white paint desks, holographic projection images were unfolded, compared with this underground space full of modern technology. The first floor, with its colorfully painted walls, is like a large courtyard. No one could have imagined it. Just taking an elevator is like changing the world. Wow. Little Shirley looked up and around exaggeratedly. She felt that even the Underground Research Institute in Raccoon City was far from being so high-end. "It's like walking into the future world," she exclaimed. "Then let your sister Yelena show you around here." Leon touched Shirley's head. Yelena's eyes lit up when she heard this. "Come on, Shirley, come with me." This place was designed by the boss himself. Many rooms are very hidden, perfect for hide and seek. "Really, sister, please take me to see it quickly." "Brother Leon, let's go." The two-year-old friends immediately jumped into the depths of the hall hand in hand. Natasha looked at the two people's backs and raised her forehead. What should I say? It turns out that Yelena is old enough to get along with elementary school students. Well, actually it's good that she's like this, which means the Red House didn't leave too many shadows on her. Well, I can't make it up anymore. She's just naive. Lion is also hard to describe. I don't know when that guy will mature. Natasha paused and asked. They have gone away. Leon, you're trying to say something to me by pushing Yelena away, right? Chapter 88, Widow Agent Super Evolution. There's indeed something important. That's right. Tony and I went to a different world a few days ago, so the serum I mentioned before has been made. Lion briefly summarized his experience in the world of Resident Evil. Then he said bluntly, except for Tony and us, I will only tell you about this matter for the time being. As for Yelena, don't let her know about it yet. You mean time travel, biochemical apocalypse, savior. God. Natasha looked at Leon in surprise. I didn't expect you to have so much experience these days. You really can't let Yelena and the others know about this. It's not distrust, but the fewer people who know, the better. Natasha quickly said from Leon's perspective. She thought of the regeneration ability mentioned by Leon and felt a little anxious and a little expectant. So, you plan to inject us with the serum developed by you two brothers? That's right. As the organization under me, it can't be all ordinary people. Leon nodded. He raised his finger, but there still needs to be an incentive mechanism after the organization is established. I will inject you and Yelena with SS2 serum, and the others will use SS1 type temporarily. Then set the SS2 serum as a reward for outstanding contributions. You can create a contribution evaluation system to give others a goal. Copy that. Natasha pointed her eyebrows with both fingers. Then when do we start? Now. In the laboratory. Leon fixed Natasha and Yelena on the experimental table respectively. Shirley was sent back to the first floor and asked to paint murals with other widows. Boss, Is this serum really more powerful than the super soldier serum? Am I going to be the next Captain America soon? Even though Yelena was restrained on the stage, her mind and mouth could not be free. She stretched her neck and looked at Leon, imagining the image of herself kicking Hydra and punching S.H.I.E.L.D. after being strengthened. Moreover, her mind was very wild. One second she was thinking about fighting, and the next second she jumped back to the present. Just like a frog croaking by the river, you don't know whether it is going to jump into the water or throw itself on the shore. Boss, do you really need to wear something so cool when you inject serum? Will Natasha and I turn into monsters later? It would be bad to become a big monster. It's best not to gain too much muscle, as that won't look good. Shut up. Natasha and Leon couldn't bear it and shouted at the same time. Keep quiet, you know. Yelena was startled and quickly nodded her head and looked away. Okay, you have the final say. Leon simply speeded up the input of nutrient solution behind the console. Then he directly took out the serum, injected it himself, and blocked Yelena's mouth as quickly as possible. With the injection of the serum, Natasha and the two experienced a rebirth similar to Tony's. First, the body temperature continues to rise until their cuticles are carbonized. After a period of time, the carbon layer suddenly shattered again. Two figures as pink and white as freshly peeled chicken heads were revealed. Leon used his clairvoyance ability to observe briefly and determined that the strengthening had ended and the effect was very obvious. The genes of Natasha and the two of them have been successfully evolved, and their physical strength has doubled. The most important thing is that the defects in their bodies have been perfectly repaired at this time. We untied the two of them and put the clothes on the table on them. Natasha and Yelena also woke up. After a brief period of confusion, they turned over and sat up. The surge in strength directly crushed the experimental table. Natasha sat on the ground, looked at her arms, and touched the muscles that had become tough and elastic. She felt like a different person. Her whole body was full of explosive power, and her physical strength seemed to be endless. Even Yelena didn't yell at this time. The idiot's hand suddenly lit up with flames. She stared blankly at the flames while stroking her abdomen with a complicated expression. Boss, you my red house renovation. She was incoherent. Leon knew what Yelena wanted to say. Yes, the serum can regenerate your body. What you once lost has now become a new puzzle piece, making you perfect again. Is this really, really true? Yelena's voice trembled. The Red House once revamped the Widow agents. It left lasting pain on them that can never be undone. Whether it is the meticulous Natasha or the lively Yelena, they have never let go of this deep scar in their hearts. Of course, there will be no difference between you and those girls on the street from now on. There is no need to doubt this, Yelena. Leon said. He leaned against the console behind him and waved his hand. But don't thank me too much. This is just part of the employee benefits. I told you, you won't regret it if you follow me. Boss. Tears burst into Yelena's eyes. You. I love you to death. She dropped the clothes in her hands and pounced on Leon with pear rain. Don't be so excited. Your tears are rubbing on my clothes. Hey, why are you still rubbing them on my clothes? Leon seemed to have a koala hanging on him. The two pushed each other and actually pushed him behind the operating table and fell to the ground. On the other side, Natasha also had sparkling eyes, and there were too many things she wanted to say to Leon. But when she stood up, her expression suddenly became strange, and she looked at the console. Hey, what's that sound, Yelena? What are you doing? Fake, you are my sister, you can't. Natasha quickly got into the console and even made a small hole in the floor just to stop her sister from being too enthusiastic. Although the permanent pain in Yelena's heart and body was suddenly filled, and it was understandable that she would be a little excited. But it would be bad to wipe the tears on Leon. Natasha felt that she had to stop her sister's rude behavior. But she was also very excited, and she couldn't help but become rude even after trying to stop him, and became crying bitterly. In the next few days, with Natasha's assistance, Leon injected SS1 serum into the Widow agents one after another. At this moment of winning over people's hearts and enhancing relationships, of course, he has to go in a battle personally. After strengthening them all, The agents who were originally extremely powerful have now turned into human cannonballs. These days, they have to be careful even when walking for fear of accidentally stepping on the tiles with too much force. Fortunately, the SS serum strengthens not only their bodies, but also their brains. It won't take long for the Widow agents to become familiar with the surge in power. Their recognition of the new organization is also growing. When Leon appeared, these girls who were already loyal to him became even more passionate and unrestrained, and their fiery eyes seemed to really burn. Natasha saw all this. She has no doubt that once the current Widow agents really start to show their claws, they will shake the whole world. Chapter 89, Establishment of Men in Black. Natasha even approached Leon about this. She felt that the opportunity to destroy Hydra had arrived. Leon, when should we start taking action? Wait a little longer and let the news received by Nick Fury fly for a while. Before Tony went to Nick Fury's mailbox, he sent a list of some Hydra members within S.H.I.E.L.D. After all this time, it's time for the fermentation to bear fruit. Leon stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling window, watching the traffic on Brooklyn Street. He could hear, in the S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters in another city, Nick Fury was yelling at FK. Be patient, Nada. The right time will come soon. But don't waste this time. The Widows have just been strengthened, and the previous combat methods that focused on sneak attacks and fast attacks are no longer applicable. Now we need to let them rediscover a new combat mode that suits their own strength. Next, you take Yelena with you, train the Widows to control their power, and decorate the building at the same time. Of course, the mission of rescuing the remaining Widows must continue. I believe Nick Fury won't keep us waiting too long. Natasha nodded. I understand. A week later, Nick Fury's movement has not yet arrived. The final decoration of the new organization building has been completed. Even the Widow agents all over the world have been liberated. Of the more than 300 agents in total, including Sisters Natasha, 313 finally stayed and joined Lion's forces. These people were all carefully inspected by Leon when they first met. None of them have been brainwashed by other organizations, and there are no Skrulls they can trust. On this day, in the conference room on the top floor of the building, Lion summoned more than 300 people to gather here. This room is said to be a conference room, but it was actually built to look like a large gathering place. It ends on a semicircular platform. On both sides are Roman-style carved stone columns. The walls are a yellow-brown stone wall with a historical feel. Even the door of the conference room is an iron door engraved with a picture of Christ's ascension into heaven. Leon stood on a high platform, wearing a Superman uniform, as serious as a priest holding a meeting of believers at the Temple of Zeus in ancient Greece. The believers all raised their heads at the foot of the steps, waiting for the priest to announce the oracle with an expression of admiration and expectation. Everyone, our organization is officially established today. Leon crossed his arms on the stage, his cloak fluttering silently. I am honored to have you on board, without knowing anything about the purpose and goals of the organization. Out of your trust and gratitude for me, choose to join this organization unconditionally. This is the part that moved me. I believe you will never regret today's decision in the future. But I have to say it first. This organization starts from a moment it is established and continues to the infinite future. There's only one core purpose and purpose. That's serving me. My purpose of saving you is only this. If you have any objections, you can raise them now. Leon looked around at the Widows present and waited for a few seconds, but no one showed any dissatisfaction. Most people even showed excited expressions. Their eyes flashed and their bodies trembled slightly. If we weren't in a serious meeting right now, Leon felt that these people might not be able to help shouting excitedly for Superman. Especially Yelena. This idiot's eyes were rolling around, happy and dumbfounded, not knowing what she was thinking. Leon pursed his lips and continued. It seems like no one has a problem. Well, I declare, the Men in Black organization was officially established. From now on, you're the first batch of the organization and the core members in the future. The core purpose of the organization is to serve me. The secondary goal is to protect our Earth. The movie Men in Black is also part of the Marvel Universe, and Lion felt it was reasonable to borrow this name. He walked a few steps on stage, waved, and a holographic image was projected in the hall. The reason why I do this is because this world is not limited to the organizations and forces you knew in the past. Under the undercurrent, our Earth has aliens from the other side of the universe. Green-skinned aliens appeared in the projection. There are also supernatural forces that are hidden in the world. The projection switches to the mage of Kamatage and the villagers of Daluo village who use Ki. These were all made by Leon himself using special effects. And the gods who nominally rule our planet. The projections of Odin and Thor appeared in the middle of the hall. The Widow agents were all stunned. They never knew that the world was so wonderful, and they always thought that the Red House was one of the top forces. Leon's tone changed at this time. Some of them have a friendly attitude, some are the guardian saints of this world, and some pretend to be friendly but are secretly plotting against this planet. What we men in black have to do is to hide in the dark and nip all these threats from the outside in the bud. The Marvel world always faces a crisis of annihilation from time to time. Some may come from high-ranking multiverse-level figures. Others may just come from an ordinary scientist or an ambitious entrepreneur. This Earth can always reach the edge of destruction in various forms. Lion felt that it was necessary to create a lock to intercept these threats in advance. Otherwise, he would not be surprised at all if he came back from another world one day and found that the Earth exploded. But we're not trying to be the world's babysitters. Leon then raised his arms and shouted, "We are men in black, a net and a sword hanging over everyone's heads, strangling all threats from outside or inside. Now, everyone takes the oath after me." Leon floats in the air. All Widow agents raise their arms. He said word by word, "Remember, when everyone is confused by the illusion of peace and deceived by the so-called facts, we always believe everything is empty." The neat voices of the widows sang after Lion. When morality puts shackles on the world, and the law puts shackles on justice, we will never forget, all things are allowed. Everyone repeated it together, and their voices were sonorous and powerful. Finally, remember the program of the man in black, to lead this chaotic world until it leads to the final tranquility. Leon fell slowly. The oath is over. The oath is over. Every Widow agent was immersed in the oath they had just recited. They felt a heavy weight from it. That is the weight of carrying forward in all the darkness that humans cannot see. Their eyes were blazing, and they remembered the oath silently in their hearts. At this moment, the Superman with flying cape on the stage is their spiritual beacon and their mentor. Leon snapped his fingers at this time. The stone door of the conference room opened automatically. 313 pitch-black armors flew into the house. Each of these armors is holding a black suit. Each stopped in front of a Widow agent. What is parked in front of you now is your future armor and uniforms. Leon said, "These armors were all built by Leon in the Resident Evil world. He is the savior over there and can mobilize resources from around the world. It is naturally easy to build more than 300 pieces of armor. The armor is a reference to Tony's Mark V in the movie. They can all be reduced to a suitcase. And a new element reactor is used for energy supply. It will make it easier for agents to travel around the world in the future." The widows were all excited when they looked at the armor next to them that fit their size perfectly. Yelena even hugged her armor and spun around in a circle, seemingly unable to stop for a while. At this time, Leon pressed his hands down to signal for silence. "War armor and suits will be your uniforms from now on. From now on, your name is no longer a widow, but a man in black. The man in black who hides in the darkness and serves the light. Your code names will be changed to alphabetical order. Natasha is Agent N and Yelena is Agent Y. Others follow the same example, sorting by the letters in the name, and if they are repeated, they use double letters or triple letters." The agents all responded, taking the black suits held by the armor and changing into uniforms on the spot. From now on, the man in black, known to everyone in the Marvel Universe, was born. However, the names of the secret agents are not just men in black. In the future, everyone knows that the leader of the men in black is Superman. Therefore, these secret agents are also called the Black Nuns under the command of the god on earth, or the Valkyrie. Chapter 90, The time has come, the establishment of men in black will not change anything in a short time. The agents who had no mission for the time being returned to their previous posts one after another, waiting for Leon's orders. And as an independent organization, the financial resources for people in black to maintain operations must also be guaranteed. Yelena's mural-inspired lion. After discussing with Tony, he acquired the copyrights of DC Comics and Iron Man and established a superhero operating company. The function of this company is mainly to operate entertainment works and peripheral products of superhero IP. Operating income is divided into 30% and 70%. 3 points go to the superheroes, and 7 points go to the company, similar to the Vought Corporation in the Black Robe world. Such a company must have great potential in the Marvel world. Then all he needs is the endorsement of Superman. He also proposed that 30% of the revenue from the superhero IP and surrounding products will be paid by both parties, used to compensate for the losses caused by superheroes in the process of executing justice. After that, superheroes who want to sign contracts will probably be able to break through the company's threshold. Leon did what he said, and with a wave of his hand, all the parts above the ground of the man in black building were included in the company's scope. The superhero operating company went up for business the next day. Yelena temporarily serves as chief operating officer. Misses in black from all over the world also receive tasks at the same time and set up local branches of the company one after another. As for Natasha, she has been transferred to Stark Network Company by Leon. Another week has passed. A new morning. Leon returns once again from the world of Resident Evil. Now his single-arm strength has increased to 1.93 million tons, and the speed of improvement is still decreasing. He was almost reaching his limit. After solving the 10 Rings gang and Hydra, let's go to Karma Taj. Leon felt it was time to visit the famous Ancient One mage in Marvel. He walked out of the room and found Natasha and Shirley eating breakfast. Are you back? There was no one in your room just now. Natasha spread butter on the bread. Shirley's school time is almost here, so we didn't wait for you. A few days ago, Shirley enrolled in a nearby school under Yelena's arrangement. Now every morning, sisters Natasha and Leon take turns taking her to school. Although Shirley said that she can knock down more than 10 tons with one punch and does not need transportation. But several adults, especially Sister Natasha, firmly disagreed. They said that other children had parents to pick them up and drop them off, and Shirley could not live without them. This matter was ignored until it was later discovered that students here were picked up and dropped off by school buses. Both sisters are clearly interested in raising a child. This gives them a sense of family. Every day after work, they have to run upstairs to help Shirley with her homework. After learning the knowledge in class, we still need to teach extracurricular knowledge. Natasha teaches hand fighting and Yelena teaches Russian. Rich academics made little Shirley's lacking childhood life begin to become complete. Don't wait for me. You know it doesn't matter whether I have breakfast or not. Leon poured a glass of milk. Sunshine is my best food. But an empty stomach will make you feel uncomfortable, right? Or can sunlight fill the emptiness in your stomach? Natasha handed the bread to Leon. Thank you. Leon took a bite of the bread. Bread, milk, eggs, and nuts. It's really a nutritious breakfast. Shirley needs this to grow. Natasha took out a thumb-sized glass box and placed it on the table. Something happened last night, and you need to see this. She tapped the glass box lightly, and a video was immediately projected. All surveillance near SHIELD headquarters failed last night. This is a picture taken by Agent K, who is lurking in SHIELD, using the men in black suit. The video started playing at 11 o'clock in the evening yesterday. The streets were empty except for the dim street lights. A black Lincoln drove into the street and moved forward slowly. Suddenly, as it passed the intersection, several police cars came from 4 roads, tore through the darkness, and fiercely crashed into the Lincoln car. There is nothing wrong with the video up to this point, and it is very consistent with the style of the New York police chasing desperados. But then things get weird. When the Lincoln car was surrounded, it couldn't move. When those police cars opened their doors, someone actually pulled out a Gatling machine gun and a power hammer. and opened fire on the Lincoln car as if attacking a city. Of course, the Lincoln car didn't last long before it exploded and became a wreck. Jarvis invaded the SHIELD network. After screening and comparison, the person in the car should be Nick Fury. Natasha said. Leon stopped chewing. He dragged the projection to the beginning and zoomed in on the front of the Lincoln car. It was pitch dark, and it looked like the driver must be a black man. So, Nick Fury's actions during this period finally attracted the attention of Hydra. Well, they're starting to have conflicts within themselves, and that's the moment we need. Leon finished the bread in a few bites. Notify all the men in black that it is our turn to take action next. Let the secret agents use their own channels to spread the specific information about Hydra and muddy the water. By the way, remember to only expose Hydra information from around the world for the time being, and keep those within SHIELD first. I really want to see the scene where Snake Shields is sent by the Security Council to destroy Hydra. As for the internet company, let's put it aside for now. You and Yelena will find an opportunity to sneak into SHIELD, invade the internal network, and copy all their agent information. When the time is right, I will publish it all online. Natasha's expression changed. You want to destroy SHIELD together? What's the use of keeping this kind of Civ-like organization? It's best if they're disbanded. Lion said. Natasha nodded. After I have arranged the company's affairs, I will go and convey the mission. Right now, the SHIELD agents are still in the dark. They're loose inside and tight outside, making it easy to invade. What about me? What about me? Shirley was at the age where she was interested in things like agents and espionage. As she ate her breakfast, her eyes lit up as she listened. What is my mission? Leon and Natasha glanced at her and said in unison. Your mission is to go to school well. It's school again. Shirley suddenly wilted, her head drooping like a green radish after being exposed to the sun. Natasha patted her head angrily. Let's go, little girl. It's school time. It's time to go out. Okay. Shirley took the school bag handed by Natasha and walked to the door without forgetting to wave to Leon. Bye, brother Leon. See you tonight. Leon smiled and drank milk. Bye. You must listen carefully in class. I know. Shirley's little head lowered a little more. At the same time, underground in the suburbs of New York, a secret base facility, Nick Fury lay on a medical bed wrapped in gauze from head to toe. He was using his only movable right hand to click on information on the virtual screen. Surrounding him stood SHIELD agents Hawkeye, Phil Coulson, and Hill. You all know the current situation. You're the only ones I can continue to trust at this moment. Nick Fury said, we must never let SHIELD fall into the hands of those be like Hydra. His eyes were glued to the image of Tony Stark on the screen. But if we want to take back SHIELD, just a few of us are not enough. We also need other helpers. Chapter 91 Hydra Exposed. Nick Fury is still planning to win over Tony. The next day, the efficient ladies in black had already put the information about Hydra on the bedside tables of political figures from various countries. Big figures from all over the world. When I wake up on this day, the first thing I saw was the document that appeared inexplicably on the bedside. This means that a restless day has officially begun. The military is out. The National Intelligence Service is out. All the big shots who received the information immediately mobilized the most secretive and powerful armed forces they could mobilize in various secret buildings around the world. Thousands of elite troops were dispatched in unison. Go and arrest the people on the list except the powerful. They not only have to verify the authenticity of the information. What's more important is to investigate what kind of force can sneak into the homes of those big shots without anyone noticing. However, when the people on the list were arrested and imprisoned, they were tortured and given truth serum. A bigger shock hit the hearts of the big shots. The information in the document is actually all true. Hydra still exists in this world, and it has penetrated into every aspect. They range from royal family members and ministers of state to peddlers and newsstand owners. Everyone has Hydra. Some big shots were even horrified to discover that the loved one beside their bed was actually a member of Hydra. Crazy. The whole world is crazy. Now, who cares which force put the information on their bedside? Everyone is looking for Hydra, killing Hydra, and digging deep to find them. Almost every country is secretly experiencing unrest. Thousands of orders were issued at the same time to dispatch troops to defeat Hydra. But these orders were issued 1 second and canceled the next, and the person who issued the order was also decapitated. Because when those people were giving orders, the clerk beside them, who respectfully handed over his gold-rimmed glasses, was a Hydra. The country's dignitaries are all going crazy. Hydra's top brass are also going crazy. A sealed room. Important figures in Hydra met via remote projection. Who the hell leaked the secret? Who exposed the list? We have a shameful traitor, the well-dressed Alexander Pierce, the former director of S.H.I.E.L.D., kicked over the table and roared loudly. That's a coward. A coward who temporarily backed down when our great plan was about to succeed. Baron Strucker, did you betray us? Did Nick Fury notice something was wrong because you gave him the information? On the other side of him, Baron Strucker, who had shaved his head, was equally angry. I should be the one asking you. Pierce, you're the only one who is not on the list in that information. You sanctimonious idiot, you still dare to beat me up. Baron Strucker stood up suddenly, with blood spurting on his face and his eyes about to burst. You control S.H.I.E.L.D., and you think you are superior to us. You just want to monopolize Hydra. You never let Nick Fury, who is more like Hydra than us, join us. And this is proof. You have been acting from the beginning to the end. First, you killed Nick Fury under the guise of being aware of him, and then you wanted to kill us. You have only lived a life like a dog for a few years. You can use a knife and fork and you think you can eliminate dissidents. I tell you, it's impossible. Baron Stark scolded until his neck turned red and thick. Pierce's face turned red and he became angry. You fart. I work hard in S.H.I.E.L.D., and I will be a traitor. Calm down, gentlemen. Calm down. Mrs. Hydra intervened. She cannot let the two of them vent their anger so irrationally. The top priority is to deal with the doubts that politicians from various countries have about us, not to quarrel. She analyzed calmly. We are all on the list, Baron Strucker, and we cannot be betrayers. And no one within S.H.I.E.L.D. has been exposed. It's true that the suspicion is greater. Before Pierce could retort, she spoke faster. But your insight plan has been carried out smoothly, and the goal is just around the corner. There is no reason to betray, either. Since we can't find the answer, then throw it aside. The most important thing now is to let our exposed people hide again. Madame Hydra's enchanting body sat on the table. Do you two understand? You think I don't understand? Baron Strucker sat down in his chair. 1/3 of my men have been exposed. Now I can only hide in the base in Sokovia, but how long can I hide? That's why we gathered here, to think of a solution. Mrs. Hydra looked at Pierce. Pierce, you are the only one who has not been exposed. This can only be done by you. Don't let everyone down. Pierce took a few deep breaths, glared at Strucker fiercely like a wolf, and then nodded. I will apply to the Security Council to dispatch S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. At that time, Sitwell and Rumlow will give you a fake death certificate. This is the most effective response I can make in a short period of time. Everything depends on the implementation of the Insight Plan. After that plan succeeds, all foolish people will regret their mistakes. Baron Strucker heard this and snorted coldly. That's it. You'd better move faster and let the meeting end. Hydra's meeting broke up on bad terms. On the other side, Nick Fury also found Tony Stark. He took Phil Coulson with him and originally wanted to sneak into the Stark mansion directly like the first time. However, when he turned on the local electromagnetic shielding device, the alarm bell rang throughout the villa. Then in less than 3 seconds, a battle armor fell from the sky, and the two-handed cluster cannon was charged and ready to be fired. Oh, listen to me. This must be a misunderstanding. Nick Fury raised his hands and kicked Coulson, reminding him to surrender. A few minutes later, the two were led by the armor and saw Tony in the living room. He was crossing his legs and putting his hands on the sofa to enjoy the sea view, as if he was ignoring the two of them. Nick Fury didn't seem to mind and greeted him very naturally. The second time we meet, Iron Man, maybe I should just call you Tony? Look, it's always so unexpected when we meet. Do you feel surprised? He took Coulson to sit across from Tony and said to the armor, "A cup of coffee with milk and sugar, thank you." Coulson also smiled and said, I just want a glass of milk. If possible, I want it to be at room temperature. Stop. Stunt. Tony stretched out his left hand to stop the two of them. I'm sorry. It seems I haven't asked you to sit down yet. Really? I thought all the sofas in your house were for friends to sit on. Nick Fury sat down as if he hadn't heard anything. He stretched out his bandaged feet. I believe Stark will not be too harsh on a physically disabled person. The smile on Coulson's face became brighter. The sofa is very soft and beautiful, Mr. Stark. The familiarity between these two people made Tony's forehead jump. Shameless is the style of S.H.I.E.L.D. To uninvited guests. How do you want me to drive you off the cliff this time? No, calm down. Tony, actually, we're here to bring you some things you need. Nick Fury motioned for Coulson to place a black box on the table. Your father was one of the founders of our S.H.I.E.L.D., and this is what he left there. Perhaps your arc reactor can get better answers from this. Chapter 92 Fury. The world would be over without us. There's one more thing besides that. Not waiting for Tony to react. Nick Fury crossed his fingers with his hands, rested his elbows on his knees, and leaned forward. Your father was a hero, Tony, and he did so much for the world. And now, this world also needs your help. Are you going to be a hero like Howard? Or are you going to stay a playboy and play Iron Man? It's time to make a decision. After saying that, he patted his butt and got up with difficulty, took Coulson with him, and limped toward the door. I believe you'll make the right choice. When you make a decision, contact me. You'll know how to contact me, right? Braze Dantu used his usual cold-blooded tactics, only speaking half of his words, not giving the other party any chance to ask questions, and mysteriously disappeared at the door. Tony watched the two people leave with speechless eyes. Does he think he's a lame Forrest Gump who wants to recruit people into his gang just by opening his mouth? He spread his hands towards the armor beside him. It's exactly what Leon said. This black braised egg is an idiot who loves to show off. It's really a joke to use my father's things as gifts. Tony picked up the box on the table casually, but when his eyes touched the black shell, he felt a bit nostalgic and solemn. Then let's see how secretive the old guy is and what he wants to tell me. He still remembered that Lion said that everything Howard wanted to say to him was left in it. Half an hour later, when Tony returned to the laboratory, he was surprisingly silent. His silence was written from the bottom of his heart to his face, and every micro-expression was immersed in memories. There was nothing surprising in the box Howard left behind. Just some manuscripts, blueprints, and a few videotapes. In the dusty video, the old guy showed the conceptual model of Stark Industrial Park, implying that it was an invention that transcended the times. However, Tony had discovered the secret inside the display board before due to Leon's prompting. What really left him speechless for a long time. In fact, it was Howard's heartfelt words at the end of the video. Tony, you are the greatest of the countless creations in my life. This sentence made Tony stand in front of the test stand in a daze for a long time. None of the Stark men seemed to be good at expressing emotions. In Tony's mind, until that day, Howard never said, "I love you," to him or expressed his love for him. So Tony was always very rebellious. His rebellious behavior and character as a child were a way to attract Howard's attention. Until Howard's death, this character really became a part of him. But now this is a conversation that spans time and space. Suddenly he understood Howard's love that he had never revealed. This means a lot to him. After a long silence, Tony dialed Leon's number. Hello, are you missing me when you call me in broad daylight? To be honest, I'm not used to not seeing your stinky face every day. Leon started teasing as soon as he answered the phone, but he was definitely the most honest person in the Stark family. Miss you? Don't be kidding at most, just a little bit, like a little bit of cheese crumbs. Leon's words made Tony smile. Don't be like this. Just say it boldly if you miss me. I won't laugh at you. Leon laughed. Well, that's right. I just looked at what the old guy left. Tony awkwardly changed the subject. Nick Fury gave you something? How did it feel? Tony hesitated. There's a video in which the old guy talks a lot. Well, he didn't talk about you because he recorded it a long time ago. There's no need to explain. Your explanation makes it seem like I'm a glass-hearted person. Tell me, what do you want from me? When are we going to take action against Hydra? Tony took a deep breath. After feeling emotions I'd never felt from Howard before, he could no longer resist the urge to find his enemy. Don't you know? Leon's words made him twitch the corner of his mouth. We have already started taking action. Really? Shit. Why didn't anyone tell me? Tony's eyes widened. Hydra moves quickly. Pierce led S.H.I.E.L.D.'s men to open up all the joints in one day. At the Security Council meeting, representatives from various countries voted to let S.H.I.E.L.D. be responsible for coordinating the overall situation and capturing or annihilating all hidden forces of Hydra. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. are ready to go. The backbone members of Hydra, who were among them, were in deep thought. In the eyes of ordinary agents, that is the fearless look of being ready to fight to the death. Regardless of whether they are newbies or veterans, they can't help but be moved by these Hydra elites at this moment, feeling that these are the role models for our generation. Not just any ordinary agents. Even representatives from various countries who came to the scene could not help but nod in approval. This situation made them eager to sign and approve all action plans immediately. Little did they know that when the fighting started, these high-minded people would immediately turn their guns and kill all their colleagues around them. Soon, all requests for S.H.I.E.L.D.'s deployment were approved. A full 3 space carriers are preparing to take off from the S.H.I.E.L.D. base. This time, Pierce spent all his money just to put on a spectacular show. And in a suburban New York base, the real good guy, Nick Fury, is as anxious as an ant on a hot pot. Damn it, he circled around the table and kicked the wall with his bandaged feet. Can't those drunkards in the Security Council see that Pierce has evil intentions? Fury, you didn't think there was anything wrong with him before, right? Hill reminded from the side, showing off her dashing and heroic appearance in her combat uniform. Nick Fury's dark face became even darker. I am also a fool. When we were in Boggett, Colombia, Pierce deceived me with his rule-abiding face. In 1995, Nick Fury was just an ordinary deputy director of S.H.I.E.L.D. stationed in Bogota during a rebellion on the issue of rescuing hostages. Pierce, then the diplomatic ambassador, insisted on negotiating on the grounds that the lives of the hostages could not be compromised. But Fury made a dangerous move and launched a thunderous rescue regardless of orders, rescuing all the hostages. There's even Pierce's daughter among them. So Nick Fury couldn't have imagined it. Pierce, the former director of S.H.I.E.L.D., who had such a faithful friendship with him, would be a Hydra. Is there any news from Tony Stark? He said solemnly, we need him. Sorry, sir. There's been no news from him. Coulson spread his hands. Is it because we didn't leave any contact information? What contact information? He has artificial intelligence. What contact information do you want? Nick Fury scolded FK again. We can't sit still and wait for death. Even without that playboy, we have to take action. He looked at the S.H.I.E.L.D. base captured by satellite. We need to sneak into the space carrier and stop Hydra's conspiracy. He punched the table with his fist. Otherwise, the world will be over. Chapter 93, The Help of the Skrulls Sneaking into the Space Carrier, is easy to say. But that includes Nick Fury. There are only 4 combatants they can dispatch at present. 4 guys infiltrating a world-class military facility are just a joke. But neither Hawkeye nor Coulson or Hill hesitated at all. They really felt that the mission of saving mankind was on their shoulders, and they carefully studied the strategy all night. We must break into the command room at all costs. I believe there will be people among the agents. We must prioritize recruiting this part of the force. Hill analyzed. This plan is very radical, but it is the only way we have at the moment. We can only give it a try, said Eagle Eye. Let me try to contact Tony Stark again. He will take action at the critical moment. Coulson also vowed to make a promise. When the 3 people dispersed, Nick Fury's inscrutable expression became heavy. Everything happened so fast. He thought he could slowly figure it out and quietly take back S.H.I.E.L.D. by his own strength. But overnight, high-level officials all over the world somehow knew about the existence of Hydra. Seeing a war getting ready to begin, he had no time to wait. After standing alone for a long time, Nick Fury dialed a number. Taros, I need your help. Talos is the leader of the Skrulls, an important member of the Skyward Sword Bureau, and Fury's friend. That's right, Fury's trump card is his alien friends, the Skrulls. He will rely on this extraordinary force to reverse the desperate situation. Meanwhile, in Brooklyn, Leon, who had been paying attention to the movements of all parties with his super hearing turned on, almost laughed out loud when he heard what Fury said on the phone. This black braised egg is so careless when it should be cautious, and so naive when it shouldn't be. The Skrulls are not a friendly alien race. In the Marvel movies, they're interstellar refugees. But in the comics, they are cosmic gangsters who dominate the galaxy. This race is a creation of the Celestials. He has the ability to imitate other people's appearance and copy other people's memories by concentrating his energy. Among them, the particularly outstanding ones are called Super Skrulls. This group of people can even imitate and copy the target's extraordinary abilities, reaching 60 to 70% of the level of the original owner. However, this ability was axed in the movie universe. It becomes necessary to use the target's blood and special equipment to copy the target's extraordinary abilities. This makes them significantly less threatening. This can also explain why they were not evenly matched in the battle with the Kree Empire like in the comics. Speaking of which, the reason why these Skrulls were hiding on the Earth goes back more than 10 years. In the movie universe, these interstellar refugees were initially hunted by the Kree Empire. One of the leaders, Talos, by chance, awakened some of the memories of Captain Marvel, who was controlled by the Kree Empire at the time. Then they took the opportunity to escape to Earth. When he met Captain Marvel and others again, Talos behaved extremely harmlessly. It shows kindness and provides help, as if it is so kind and innocent that it can take out your heart and soul. So Captain Marvel and Nick Fury fought off the Kree army. He promised to help these Skrull refugees find a suitable planet to migrate to. And this search took more than 10 years. During this period, Talos sent a message, "Earth is safe, come soon," to his compatriots wandering in the universe. Nowadays, there are more and more Skrulls on the Earth, numbering in the millions. As the time goes, they gradually discovered that the Earth is currently the most suitable planet for their survival, and began to become hostile to humans. However, Nick Fury regarded these aliens as friends and subordinates. Nothing is known about this yet. Maybe it's because he never wants to think bad things about his friends. After all, he could climb to the position of director of S.H.I.E.L.D. in just a few years. A large part of the credit comes from the help of these Skrulls, who can copy their appearance and memory. Thinking of this, Leon shook his head. There are millions of people like Mystique. Even if they didn't have ambition at the beginning, they have it now. Compared with these Skrulls, even the men in black he had just established seemed to be weak. Once Hydra is dealt with, we'll find an opportunity to drive away these Skrull greenskins. When the aerospace carrier takes off, Nick Fury and others blended in smoothly. Even the infiltration process was based on the plan made by Hawkeye and the others last night. Nothing unexpected happened. Hawkeye and Coulson lamented that there is no road ahead and God is blessing mankind. Only Nick Fury was strolling behind a few people, snickering to himself. I thought that the old Skrull guys had already replaced the defenders at key positions, and it was all because of him carrying the weight behind him. Not only that, he also arranged for several Skrulls to be replaced within the official circles of various countries. Only in this way can he turn the tide in the shortest possible time. Go this way, we go directly to the command room, control everyone, and use this aerospace aircraft carrier to shoot down the other two. Hawkeye, the best combat agent among the four, led the way. "Quick, Fury, we don't have much time, follow us." The intelligence given by Tony only contained the key information of Hydra. The Skrulls have not yet passed on the information obtained by copying the memory to Fury. The four-man team, unable to distinguish between ordinary agents and Hydra members, could only knock them unconscious when they encountered agents along the way. They quickly rushed to the command room, for people were squeezed into the ventilation duct, lying on the same vent and looking down. The vent was only 50 centimeters long and wide, and the four heads pressed together, like four peas growing out of a peanut shell, all compressed and deformed. "Rumlow, he's here too." Nick Fury glared at the figure below with a fierce look. "He's also a Hydra. Crossbones are all Hydras." Hawkeye felt this was outrageous. "No wonder you said that only a few of us can still believe that we are really S.H.I.E.L.D. agents and not Hydra external personnel. Now is not the time to talk about this. Hawkeye, you come to contain Rumlow. Coulson, you cover Hill to seize control. What about you, Fury? Hill asked. Of course I am. Who's there? Come out. A voice shouted, interrupting Nick Fury's words. Sharon Carter, wearing combat uniform, aimed her gun at the vent. There she saw 4 distorted heads. Now that S.H.I.E.L.D. was in turmoil, she immediately suspected that Hydra had sneaked in, so it was more prudent not to shoot directly. As the niece of S.H.I.E.L.D. founder Peggy Carter, she has a style that is not inferior to her predecessors. FKFK. Nick Fury cursed silently, and the 3 heads next to him all rolled their eyes. A few minutes later, the 4 people who followed the other and jumped down the vent were surrounded by dozens of people in the command room. Nick Fury? How could it be you? Weren't you killed by Hydra 2 days ago? Chapter 94 Battle for Aircraft Carriers. Sharon Carter looked at Nick Fury suspiciously. And Hawkeye, Hill and Coulson? You disappeared for 2 days. Didn't it turn out that you were attacked by Hydra? She began to wonder if the 4 people in front of her had anything to do with Hydra. Otherwise, it would all be too much of a coincidence. Crossbones Rumlow also stepped forward. Director Fury, you disappeared at a critical moment and then appeared inexplicably on the space carrier. You need to give us an explanation. He took out his gun and made a defensive gesture. Otherwise, it will be difficult not to make people suspect that you are related to Hydra. You're right. Nick Fury raised his eyebrows and nodded. I need an explanation. Even though he was pointed at by more than a dozen guns, he did not change his expression. He calmly pulled up a chair and sat down, spreading his legs to point at everyone. You want to know the truth? Then I will tell you the truth. In the past 2 days, news about Hydra has been spreading among high-level officials in various countries. The entire S.H.I.E.L.D.'s deployment this time is also aimed at destroying Hydra. But what if S.H.I.E.L.D. is also full of Hydra? I want to tell you that there are countless Hydras hiding here, hiding around us. Nick Fury tilted his head back and glanced at the people present with his nostrils. He felt that everyone here was suspicious, so he quietly glanced at Hawkeye on the side. It's all nonsense and alarmism. Rumlow clicked his gun. A person who disappears at a critical moment will sow discord when he reappears. Nick Fury, when did you become Hydra? A few real S.H.I.E.L.D. agents were initially shaken by Nick Fury's words. After hearing Rumlow's words, his eyes became confused again. The situation at the scene was too complicated, and they knew too little information to decide who to believe. Rumlow, are you so eager to refute me? Nick Fury looked coldly. I know your identity as Hydra very well. There's no need to continue pretending. There are a lot of Hydra people here, right? Is there any need to cover up? Rumlow narrowed his eyes. I don't understand what you are talking about, Nick Fury. I will arrest you now for surrendering to the enemy and treason. Why are you so excited? Suddenly a gunshot turned to Rumlow. That was an ordinary S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. Could it be that Director Fury is telling the truth? The man turned around and shouted to everyone. Calm down, everyone. Don't you even want to believe the director of S.H.I.E.L.D.? How could Hydra corrupt the director? There must be something wrong with this Rumlow. Rumlow's eyes flashed fiercely, and he glanced at the man with a falcon-like gaze, just about to say something. Suddenly, another voice broke in. Everyone, I think you need to watch this live broadcast. A female agent leaned over the computer and quickly controlled it, projecting a live broadcast room on the central screen. Live broadcast? Question marks popped up in everyone's head. We were halfway through Infernal Affairs, and we just had to say, I'm a good person before starting the fight. Are you asking us to watch the live broadcast at this time? Everyone felt extremely absurd in their hearts, but they couldn't help but follow the voice and look at the big screen. The picture shows a press conference. A figure who was familiar to everyone present stood beside the podium at the press conference. To sum up, I destroyed the remaining forces of the Red House a few days ago. Tony Stark rested his elbows on the table, his body half tilted, but his big eyes were full of seriousness. On the screen behind him, a video of the Mark armor shuttled in front of a fortress was shown. That was what Leon asked Jarvis to secretly take when Tony was flying around the flying fortress. From their transaction records with the outside world, I discovered a shocking secret. Tony emphasized Hydra which was supposed to disappear in World War II, still exists today and is lurking in all areas of the world. They are among the top leaders of the country, and they are also among the world's secret organizations. From those transaction records, I inferred that even Pierce, the former director of S.H.I.E.L.D., was also a Hydra. The so-called S.H.I.E.L.D. is, Tony said while projecting the exact evidence behind him. His speech today was a decision made by the two of them after discussing it with Lion. One of the purposes is to reveal the truth about Hydra hidden in S.H.I.E.L.D. The other is to improve Tony's reputation among officials in various countries and facilitate his subsequent transnational revenge actions. The press conference was a little quiet. Most reporters have no idea what S.H.I.E.L.D. is and are skeptical of claims that Hydra still exists. Even on the internet, netizens watching the live broadcast were all confused. The live broadcast room was full of question marks. But on the aerospace aircraft carrier, the reaction of everyone who saw the live broadcast was different. Nick Fury's expression suddenly changed. Shet, how dare he announce this kind of news directly? Coulson, is this the result of your contact last night? Director, I don't know either. I tried all the methods and couldn't contact him last night. Coulson felt a little aggrieved. What? You didn't contact him? How'd he know this? Did he really destroy a Red House force? Nick Fury's expression was distorted. But looking at the agents around him who were shocked by the live broadcast content, he decided to go with the flow. You have also seen that even Iron Man Tony Stark is also accusing Pierce of having problems. Do you still doubt what I say now? Nick Fury stood up with a sharp look in his eyes. Rumlow, you and Pierce are both Hydra. How long can you keep pretending? When Rumlow heard this, he immediately burst into rage. He tilted his gun and almost shot out, killing Nick Fury. But at the same time as he raised the muzzle of his gun, Hawkeye Barton's arrow was also aimed at him. Put down the gun. Hawkeye shouted coldly. This cold cry was like a piece of red-hot coal being thrown into the water. The entire command room was on edge. Anyone with a gun in his hand is pointing at the target of his suspicion. Sharon Carter and 4 or 5 other people pointed their guns at Rumlow. The rest are targeting Nick Fury and others. These people are undoubtedly members of Hydra. Very good. I knew there were many of you, but I didn't expect there to be so many. What else did Nick Fury want to say? But I don't know who fired the first shot. Just like the shot fired in Lexington hundreds of years ago that represented independence. The next moment, the command room became a hail of bullets. Gunshots rang out, fires continued, and gunpowder smoke filled the air. Hawkeye entangled Rumlow and took the time to kill a Hydra member with an arrow. The battle was in full swing. But as the ordinary agent who initially stood on Fury's side fell, he turned into a green-skinned, inhuman creature. Nick Fury shouted no and was pushed to the ground by the crowd in a daze. Several other people were also injured, died, or lost their combat effectiveness. In the end, Hawkeye was besieged by several people and fell to the ground, trembling under the electric shock rod. The air and space aircraft carrier counterattack came to an end, and in a corner where no one is paying attention, the female agent who played Tony's live broadcast at the beginning. I don't know when I hid under the table. She controls the camera to record everything and connects to a special network to broadcast live footage to the outside world in real time. And she is the man in black, codenamed Agent K. Chapter 95, Rising Tide Organization. We are responsible for this leak. Agent K transmitted live footage to the Men in Black internal satellite in real time through an encrypted channel. In the Sky Fortress, Mary, also known as Agent M, encrypted the screen transfer and uploaded it to a dark network. The title at the top of this website is Rising Tide. Rising Tide is a free organization similar to the Hacker Alliance. They advocate open information and freedom of speech. The members are scattered all over the world, and most of them don't even know each other very well. They reveal the information sealed by various countries, and they come and go like the wind on the internet, like Zorro in the electronic field. The idea is that everyone has the right to know. Many freelancers in the organization like to read the posts on the website every day when they have nothing to do. Under Agent M's post, there were responses quickly. M, did everyone watch the live broadcast of Tony Stark's press conference just now? I invaded the SHIELD network and found something, video link. Sky, I just watched it. I'm also preparing to hack into SHIELD. My friend, you are so fast. Anonymous one. And did you post a video? Miles, Sky, your current technical level is easy to be tracked. Don't hack into those secret organizations without my cooperation. Sky, okay, I remember my mentor. Anonymous 2, are you still chatting? God, the video posted by M is definitely the most shocking one I have seen this year. Anonymous 3, what the hell? I remember that NR in the video is the director of SHIELD, right? We saw him before when we hacked into the files. Was he defeated by Hydra? Anonymous 1, Hydra really still exists. They even control SHIELD like Stark said. Damn it, we have to do something. Miles, we're just a group of hackers. What can we do? Sky, this video can be published and posted on the homepage of all portals. Everyone should have the right to know. Anonymous 1, Sky is right. This is what we should do when the tide rises. Let's all take action and knock down the servers of those internet companies. Anonymous 2, but it seems that most social software is owned by the Stark Group. I remember that their firewall is difficult to break through. M, leave it to me. Our Rising Tide organization has decided on this matter. Sky, beautiful. Remember to put a high tide watermark on the video. M, no problem. 10 minutes later, all Stark Group's web pages and software homepages have a huge banner link popping up. The banner read, revealed, the truth about Hydra. Officials around the world have concealed it once again. The Rising Tide organization guarantees the authenticity of this leak. Click on the link, and the content of the video is clearly what just happened in the aerospace aircraft carrier. The whole process from Nick Fury and his team sneaking into the aircraft carrier to their defeat after a fierce battle. It was all recorded by the camera. Hours of infiltration operations. It was even edited to only 5 minutes. The video has a tight rhythm and is even accompanied by exciting music at key moments. It makes people's adrenaline surge when they see it. I don't know if this editing was done by Agent M or if it was processed by Jarvis. All portal websites carry out homepage recommendations at the same time, and the spread of the video has reached its extreme. Almost as soon as it was released, tens of millions of netizens clicked on the link. A few minutes later, the video was covered with barrage from beginning to end. The comments section was also in an uproar. Thank you very much. Is what Tony Stark said true? Hydra is still alive. I can't believe it. After watching this video, it was like someone suddenly told me that my grandfather who fought in World War II crawled out from under the tombstone again. Are those official people just for a living? And this damn SHIELD, they're all rubbish. That black man is the director? He was dealt with as soon as we met him. He doesn't look as good as me. Hey guys, didn't anyone notice the green man on the ground? Is that some new technology clone? What's going on now? That black man is shouting about destruction, salvation, etc. Could it be that a world war is about to begin? There's a lot of discussion on the internet for a while, but most netizens didn't take it seriously and just regarded it as a joke. SHIELD headquarters. The reactions of representatives from various countries here are quite different from those of netizens. Originally, Pierce was holding hundreds of representatives from Ling Ling, happily waiting for good news from the front, even to prevent the delegates from staying too long and getting bored. He also personally acted as a guide and took everyone around the SHIELD building to see how serious and responsible the agents were at work. After visiting the building, we took the representatives to have lunch. Pierce also contacted Agent Sitwell on the front lines in front of everyone. Sitwell reported with a calm and joyful expression, saying that all combat plans were going smoothly. After hearing this, the representatives breathed a sigh of relief and praised each other. Everything should have started happily and ended smoothly. But fate played a trick on Pierce at this time. A representative's cell phone suddenly rang at a certain moment. Then the second, then the third. Everyone's communication equipment started to buzz wildly. Hundreds of wildly different ringtones merge into a chaotic symphony. It seems like someone took advantage of the gathering of representatives from various countries to deliberately conduct a phone bombing. But within seconds of the representatives answering the phone, their expressions changed. Their expressions were full of confusion and disbelief. The White Bear Nation representative was the first to hang up the phone. He directly controlled the projection function of his mobile phone, connected it to the holographic screen in the conference room, and played Tony Stark's live video. Then he clicked on his mobile phone and played the video posted by the Rising Tide organization at the top of each webpage. The place was quiet. The representatives, who had just gotten a general idea over the phone, were eagerly absorbing the information conveyed by the video. Pierce looked at the screen. The warm smile on his face gradually disappeared, and he became sullen, but slowly turned into a sneer again. The video is over. The representatives either questioned or looked at Pierce with anger. Do you have anything to explain, Director Pierce? The White Bear Country representative actually took off his suit jacket, revealing a pair of capable muscles. It looked like he wanted to start a duel. Other representatives also woke up. Judging from the content in the video, Pierce being Hydra was pretty much nailed. Now that the previous director is Hydra, how many good people can S.H.I.E.L.D. still have? The hundreds of national representatives, were undoubtedly trapped in the hinterland of the enemy camp, which was even more frontline than the frontline battlefield. What they can do now is either to resist or to wait for their country to redeem their people. Most of the representatives stood up and stood beside the White Bear Country representative. They chose to fight Hydra. But Pierce only thought it was funny when he looked at this scene. He shook his head, turned, and walked outside the house, pressing the communication device in his ear. Conquer them. Boom! The door to the conference room was suddenly kicked open. Dozens of heavily armed agents threw tear gas canisters behind Pierce and then rushed into the house with guns drawn. Rising Tide Organization, Tony Stark. Pierce passed by the agents, his eyebrows cold in the shadows. You'd better have written a suicide note. Chapter 96. Pierce. War with the whole world in a dark room. The leaders of Hydra are once again reunited via projection. The atmosphere was tense like last time, and each one looked like an ignited gasoline barrel. Everyone present was silent at this moment. They sit at the table, looking at the circle of tabletop between his hands. I really can't figure out. Obviously, a few days ago, everyone was drinking champagne, hugging their waists, and talking about their great ambitions. Why has it only been a few nights? The Hydra that previously lurked beneath the surface of the world like a shadow. He became a street rat known to the world. Who is the traitor? Baron Strucker clenched his hands tightly, his face looking a little sallower than yesterday. It doesn't matter who the traitor is now, or whether there is a traitor or not. Pierce's voice was low. All the leaders have been exposed. Either we break off our arms and survive, and trade everyone's lives for the rebirth of new snake heads in the future. Or start a war, use guns and cannons to seize the world. Pierce roared the word war from his throat. His attitude was very clear and straightforward. Start a war? Now, Mrs. Hydra was stunned. But the Insight Project is only 1/5 complete. How can we fight? It's easy to fight. Pierce knocked on the table. We will fight how Schmidt fought 70 years ago. He even thought of a battle plan. On the 3 space carriers, I had people place 10 hydrogen bombs, respectively. Now it's time to put them to use. We can let Rumlow and the others use motherships and hydrogen bombs to contain all parties in the world. And we take advantage of the opportunity to seize the Middle East. The Middle East is a powder keg. We have deployed many troops there, which is a suitable place for us to start a war. Do you agree or not? Pierce's eyelids were half folded over his eyes, but the glare coming out of them was as sharp as a knife. Is there something wrong? Mrs. Hydra had a different opinion. Most of those troops were expelled by Tony Stark before, and their combat effectiveness is worrying. She felt that Pierce had just gone through a big ups and downs and lost his mind. Start a war with the whole world? I really think Hydra is still as powerful as it was 70 years ago. Also, what did you just say? Are there nuclear bombs on the space carrier? She narrowed her eyes. Aren't those motherships planning to feint attack me and Straker? What do you want to do with the nuclear bomb? Just in case. Pierce twisted his tie. Those are things my branch has spent decades saving. Just to use it in a situation like this. For example, it can act as a deterrent or eliminate some cowardly traitors. When he said this, he looked directly at Baron Strucker and the others. Mrs. Hydra stood up slowly. Are you threatening us? I'm just talking about the next plan. Pierce looked around. So, Do you agree to go to war? Baron Strucker and Madame Hydra looked gloomy and agreed under pressure. Agree, seeing that the three main leaders had reached a consensus. The remaining people also agreed. When Pierce returned to the previous conference room again, representatives from various countries were tied tightly to their chairs. Their mouths were taped shut, and they all glared at Pierce when he came in. Don't be so excited, gentlemen and ladies. I know you must be thinking that your country will soon send troops and Hydra will soon be wiped out again. But I want you to look at this. Pierce switches the projection screen. A projection of the Earth appeared, and the three aerospace aircraft carriers were marked with their current positions. They're in San Francisco, Poland, and Sokovia, and it is suspended above the densely populated city, less than a kilometer above the ground. The space carrier can park in such a position. It was originally a temporary authority given by various countries in order to eliminate Hydra, but at this moment, it has become the sword of Damocles that they have set for themselves. Look at this again. The projection screen switched again and turned into rows of ship-based missile launch systems. The huge missiles above were ready to fire. Each space carrier carries 10 megaton-yield hydrogen bombs. You know what this means? We can drop hydrogen bombs on the cities below the space carrier at any time. If you don't want to become a butcher recorded in history, then let the country behind you do what I ask. Pierce looked at the representatives present with a smile, smiling calmly and fearlessly. You devil. No one will do what you say. Go and send you a message. Someone broke away from the tape and yelled in a trembling voice. No, I don't need you to convey it for me. What I just said has been simultaneously recorded and sent to all countries. Pierce found a chair and sat down. He leaned back on the chair comfortably. Well, no wonder Fury always likes to lean on the chair and talk to people. It's really comfortable. Pierce's approach is undoubtedly feasible in the early stages. Indeed, no one in the countries who have learned the specific information dares to act rashly. To know, there are tens of millions of people below those three space carriers. If you offend Hydra's lunatic, you will be dead. Tens of millions of people died in nuclear explosions. At that time, Hydra will only add to its already bad reputation. But on the other hand, there are really countless sinners that will be written down in world history. At the same time, Skye and her first boyfriend Miles in the Rising Tide organization gave full play to their subjective initiative and actually intercepted the video that Pierce sent to various countries. After being horrified, they unsurprisingly chose to post the video online again. Pierce's comments to intimidate countries have just been released. Netizens immediately exploded, especially the netizens who are under the three space carriers. FKU, I woke up and told me there were 10 nuclear bombs above my head. San Francisco netizens trigger the harmony system as soon as they speak. Fart, fart, fart. What have we done wrong in Sokovia? The war has left us with nothing. Why do we even have to use hydrogen bombs? Refugees in Sokovia cry speechlessly. What city in Poland is that airship floating in? We were attacked again. Most netizens expressed disbelief and worry. But people in three special areas have gone crazy, and the whole city is in chaos. Nick Fury is on the helicarrier. Everyone still knows nothing about the changes that have happened in the world. Fury and others were tied up hand and foot by Hydra and thrown into the corner of the command room. Rumlow and others frowned around the Skrull's body. Fury, if you don't do something, we will be finished before Hydra. Hawkeye whispered, do you have any plan? I do have a plan. Nick Fury saw several figures among the Hydra agents and smiled. What's the plan? Wait. What are you waiting for? Waiting for someone. Barton's eyelids twitched. For the sake of everyone being ruined, can you please explain it directly? The person I've been waiting for is here. The corners of Fury's mouth raised. A tall and thin Hydra agent walked casually in front of Nick and the others. Clang! A small knife fell in front of several people. Hawkeye's eyes widened. You also said that you're not Hydra. Wait, he is the kind of alien just now. Your authority is not sufficient to know this information. Fury used his foot to hold the knife in front of him. Even if you didn't tell me, I already knew. They can turn into humans, right? This is a bit dangerous, Fury. No, they're very friendly to the Earth and are not dangerous. Nick Fury denied. The two were talking quietly. Boom! Suddenly, there was a gunshot. Everyone looked over. Rumlow's gun was smoking. In front of him, the agent who had just walked past Nick Fury was shot in the middle of his eyebrow and fell to the ground, turning into a green scroll. "No!" Nick Fury shouted angrily with his eyes wide open. At the same time, 6 different figures among the Hydra agents also subconsciously exclaimed, "Dolly!" The next second, Rumlow turned the gun and fired 6 shots, hitting his head. The 6 people were killed on the spot and turned into green-skinned corpses. Well, Hawkeye could guess. How could Rumlow, who was also a top agent, not guess? "Oh, I'm fake, UBD." Nick Fury broke through and yelled, "How dare you kill them? How dare you? I will kill you, Rumlow. You Hydra BD." Rumlow said nothing, twisted his neck, walked up to Fury, hit him in the jaw with a gun, but knocking him out. "The threat is eliminated. Continue working and wait for orders from superiors," Rumlow said to the others without changing his expression. The Hydra agents all withdrew their gazes and continued their work. This scene was also filmed by Agent K and transmitted to the outside world. Chapter 97 Retreat and Escape Agent K has been hiding in a corner where no one noticed. Her super physical fitness allows her to avoid the searches of Hydra members with her agility. While she was closing her eyes to rest her mind, her bracelet suddenly vibrated. After tapping it, a light screen was projected with a message from Leon on it. I received the video. Well done. Take Luodan and his men to retreat." Lion was in the Flying Fortress and sent a retreat signal. S is his code name in Men in Black. He does not plan to release this video of the Skrulls for the time being. Hydra is enough to shock the world. It will be better to leave the matter of aliens until next time and expose it all at once. At that time, with the excitement of the crowd, the Skrulls can be driven out of the Earth easily. As for the Skrull who was exposed before, I believe Fury can definitely fool him. Leon sometimes feels that he really should have a shock value system. If that is the case, these few actions alone stirred up emotions around the world. I'm afraid it's enough for him to change his physique to that of Superboy Supreme. On the space carrier, after Agent K read the message, he flicked his wrist to close the light curtain. "Copy that, Sir Superman." She picked up a metal suitcase and walked out of the shadows while twisting her graceful waist. Agent K is an Asian who was once placed by the Red Room into a research institution affiliated with Hydra. Later, Hydra recognized her excellence and sent her to the SHIELD Agent Academy. During this period, Hydra also briefly brainwashed her. But the effect is obviously not as good as the chemical method of Red House. If Natasha hadn't injected her with an inhibitor a month ago, she was probably still in the SHIELD Research Institute at this time, doing research with Fitz and Simmons. As soon as Agent K stepped out of the shadows, he was immediately noticed. "Stop!" A Hydra agent threatened with a gun. Rumlow stretched out his hand to stop his men. He knew Agent K. "Are you Caitlin? I remember you should be in the Research Institute now." He looked at K suspiciously. "I'm performing that person's special mission." Agent K explained he asked me to take Nick Fury and these SHIELD agents away at a critical moment. She did not say who that one was. But when he walked to Rumlow, he whispered, "Long live Hydra." When Rumlow heard this, the hesitation in his eyes suddenly became clear. The man in front of him was originally from Hydra, and he met the secret code that is one of his own. He waved his hand to indicate there was no threat and told the others to return to their posts. Rumlow didn't even ask why Nick Fury and others were taken away instead of killed here. He just watched Agent K leave the command room with Fury on his shoulder, Hawkeye in his hand, and Hill and Sharon Carter under his arm. So she is still an enhanced person. Could it be that she is also a Winter Soldier? Rumlow shook his head without thinking deeply. Agent K was carrying several people, his slender figure like a seedling stalk covered with rice ears. She entered a Quinjet fighter plane unimpeded, leaving several people on the ground. A few seconds later, the fighter jet ignited, took off, and left the space carrier. That's it, we're going to be taken to an uninhabited corner and evaporated. Hawkeye observed the interior of the fighter plane. He was extremely familiar with the structure of the Quinjet, and he might be able to find a way out. Maybe we still have a chance. Coulson looked at Agent K in the driver's seat. She doesn't look like a Hydra person. It doesn't look like it? She just took us with her, and no one stopped her along the way. Isn't this unlike it? Sharon Carter's eyes stopped on the parachute stand. She is very strong. She should have been strengthened. It is very difficult to deal with. Is there any way to destroy the cabin? If we want to escape, we can only live towards death. However, Coulson did not respond. He turned to Agent K and asked directly, "Ma'am, where do you plan to take us?" Agent K glanced at the dial. "Poland, Warsaw, okay. Here we are." Several people in the cabin were dumbfounded. What the hell is going on? The next second, the fighter suddenly slowed down, hovered, and then landed on the ground with a slight shock. Agent K left the driver's seat, dropped a few tactical daggers at the feet of several people, opened the hatch, and walked out. "Take Nick Fury and leave here. The matter of Hydra will be taken over by us men in black from now on." Men in black. Several people could see in each other's confused eyes that no one knew about this organization. But that's right. They didn't even know there was Hydra in S.H.I.E.L.D. So it seems normal that I have never heard of an organization that can arrange people to infiltrate Hydra. That's normal. 2 days ago, S.H.I.E.L.D. was the largest and most secretive organization in the world. Why did it suddenly turn into a clown? Hawkeye and the others started arguing with their eyes. "Ma'am, can we help?" Coulson asked with a kind demeanor. "No need." Agent K didn't look back. She held the metal suitcase, pulled and twisted it, and a set of pitch-black armor unfolded from it and attached to her body. The arc of the armor fit her body perfectly, as tight as clothes and as smooth as water. The quiet and charming beauty turned into a mysterious warrior like the goddess of the night in a blink of an eye. After dressing up, the armor's arms and legs spurted flames at the same time, and Agent K cut into the sky in the blink of an eye. "Thank you very much. Is it possible that this man in black was founded by Tony Stark?" Hawkeye was stunned. Now the whole world knows that the iron armor is Tony's exclusive weapon. Is she going back to the space carrier? The time from when we fly out of the carrier to when we land is no more than half a minute. The carrier should be near this longitude and latitude. Quick, we have to find a way to get out of here, contact more people, and stop Hydra. Hill made a judgment, turned around quickly, and picked up the dagger with his hands tied behind his back. Several other people also quickly untied the ropes and slapped Fury awake. But when they rushed out of the Quinjet and saw the space carrier overhead, so close that they could clearly see the base, there was only one sentence left on their lips. FKFK. The space carrier is suspended in the sky 1,000 meters away from the city, at the scale of a mothership. At this height, people in the whole city can even vaguely see its ferocious gun muzzle. Whether it's Warsaw or 2 other cities, they all entered the panic of fleeing. In the city, the right lane and the left lane are filled with vehicles escaping outwards. Even in Warsaw, Poland's best-planned city, the entrance to the highway has been blocked by traffic. The best way for people to leave is by plane. But by the time ordinary citizens realized it, all the expedited tickets have been sold out. It seems that air routes have become the exclusive life channel for the rich and powerful. But Hydra is good if it treats everyone equally. They can't control the traffic flowing out on the ground. But if your plane dares to take off from under the aircraft carrier, the shipborne anti-aircraft guns had to warn first and then shoot them down. In the end, all the planes that took off queued up and landed back at the airport. The dignitaries, dragging boxes full of confidential documents and luxurious treasures, ran out in groups together with the airport service staff. But the airport has long been blocked. Among those who couldn't buy a ticket, some were lucky or simply wanted to grab a plane, so they drove to the airport together. As a result, they were all blocked outside the airport, blocking all roads. Chapter 98, Superman enters the live broadcast room. The rich and powerful cannot do anything about this situation. They were afraid of being attacked by the space carrier, and they didn't even dare to fly in a helicopter. I can only get into my luxury car again and follow the traffic honestly. However, it was a blessing in disguise that their actions calmed the gradually manic mood of ordinary citizens. Some people stood on the roof of the car and looked at the endless traffic. I looked back at the cars of the wealthy people lining up at the end. Some of them were so happy that they opened beers and started drinking. After all, A nuclear bomb could fall above your head at any time. If the school didn't teach you something, or you didn't learn it well when you were in school, you can find out the consequences of being hit by a nuclear bomb by just searching on the internet. Everyone seems to be able to hear the ticking sound of their own life countdown. But they looked behind again and had a second thought. You can even drag big shots who you never see in person to go to hell together. It doesn't matter if you die. You can earn a lot of money even if you die. So there were men and women, old and young, in the traffic. Whenever I felt anxious, I would look back at the rear of the traffic. Occasionally, I would see one or two big figures from the parliament whom I'd seen on TV, dragging their families and their families with them behind me. They couldn't help but slap the carriage so loudly that it made a loud bang, and laughed loudly. If God Fox were to die today, it wouldn't be a loss. And this is just a corner of the city of Warsaw. As a city with a population of millions, the already average basic services in Warsaw are almost non-existent at this time. People can only flee spontaneously. There are traffic jams everywhere in the city, and there are cries and looting everywhere. That's just half an hour after Pierce's video was posted online. If the time is pushed back a few hours, even if the city was not destroyed by nuclear bombs, it would probably be destroyed by riots. When Lion flew over Warsaw, what he saw and heard was Warsaw with flames everywhere and car horns as dense as a sea. After a few glances, he flew straight upwards and caught up with Agent K, who had just seen off Nick Fury and others. When the two met, they nodded to each other. Leon continued to fly towards the space carrier. Agent K stopped and started recording using the equipment on the armor. The video data signal is relayed by the satellite and directly connected to the Sky Fortress. In the fortress, Agent M seamlessly added the rising tide, watermarked to the video, and forwarded it to major websites and software homepages to create a live broadcast entrance. This is like a test to the agent's ability to run a superhero operating company. Facts have proved that in the area of new media, agents become all-round operational experts once they get started. They are proficient in editing, finding gimmicks, and diverting trouble away from others. It wasn't even Leon who brought up the idea of letting the Rising Tide organization top the pack. It was an agent who joined Rising Tide who took the initiative to suggest and swore that the Rising Tide organization was eager to take the blame, and that's why they made such a decision. After half an hour of fermentation, the internet is in chaos. There are those who gloat, those who condemn Hydra, and those who support Hydra and say it did a great job. But it was the residents of the three cities who spoke out the most. They recorded their changes on the internet after receiving the news. From the rush to get out of the city at the beginning, to the impatience after the traffic jam, to the despair of feeling that there is no way to escape from the city, even after dark. Eventually, some people started writing suicide notes publicly online. Some people also broadcast live broadcasts, kneeling on the ground and chanting the Bible and praying for God's blessing. In disasters, there are all kinds of people, but one group of people is particularly special. This is a group of netizens from the Middle East and Afghanistan. They claim to be followers of the Protestant Superman cult. They comforted people in 3 cities in separate posts. Tell them not to panic. We still have Superman, and Superman will definitely defeat the evil Hydra and save you. Through their unremitting efforts and various persuasion, the internet, which had lost its memory after Superman disappeared for more than a month, suddenly remembered that there was such an awesome person. The opponent is an expert at resisting Jericho missiles without any injuries. Aren't these awesome people the type who are born to be saviors? As a result, more and more posts began to analyze Superman and request Superman to come forward. There are even many men and women uploading photos, saying that as long as Superman defeats Hydra, they are willing to spend a long night with him. At this moment, it seems to be responding to people's expectations. A live broadcast entrance marked with a watermark, Rising Tide, and the title Superman Arrives suddenly appeared. After countless netizens reacted, they immediately poured into the live broadcast room. In the picture, the first thing they saw was Superman in uniform flying towards the space carrier. Superman. Oh my cake, is he really Superman? He heard our voices and came out to deal with Hydra. although he is not wearing red pants. He is more handsome than in the comics. Who's filming this? A local drone? I wonder if you're too optimistic. Maybe he's also a Hydra. It's unlikely to be Hydra, but I don't think he can save those 3 cities. It's a nuclear bomb. Isn't he afraid of being blown up? There's a lot of discussion on the internet. At this time, the live broadcast camera also followed Superman and arrived below the space carrier. The red cloak was pulled up by the long wind from high in the sky, revealing a body that looked like an ancient Greek sculpture. He placed his hands lightly on the bottom of the space carrier. The next moment, the camera clearly captured the ship shaking for a moment, and then being pushed higher into the air by Superman. The live broadcast camera did not move, and Superman could be seen holding the huge ship, accelerating continuously and submerging into the clouds. It wasn't until Superman's figure turned into a tiny black that the camera quickly followed him. Chet, he pushed that airship away. I'm in Warsaw, and the airship that was floating above just now has already disappeared into the clouds. God, my God, he is God. We are saved. Damn it. Why didn't this guy come to San Francisco first? What if we were the first to be bombed by nuclear bombs? Oh, I think you are all too optimistic. Even if he can push the space carrier, so what? He will still die when a nuclear bomb explodes. He may not die. He pushed the ship, which weighs at least tens of thousands of tons. I can't even imagine how dense his body is. Then he will also be contaminated with radiation, and he is not far from death. Not just online. There was an uproar within Hydra at this time, especially Pierce in S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters. Idiot. Rumlow, you idiots didn't know about our declaration of war on the world until now, and you let Nick Fury run away. Pierce kicked down countless chairs. And this Superman, where does he want to push our space carrier? Kill him, kill him. In front of him were 3 light screens. On the screen were the commanders of each of the 3 space carriers. Rumlow, who was in the middle, pursed his lips and made no excuses. He deeply understood that when you make a mistake, you have to admit it. He stood up straight. Sir, Superman can resist Jericho missiles, but we currently have no effective way to injure him. Chapter 99 Nuclear Explosion. The Return of Superman. Without effective means of killing? Are we just going to watch him carry 3 motherships into space? Then we are defeated. The war has just begun, and we are defeated at the hands of this so-called Superman. Pierce walked around the conference room several times, and representatives from various countries sneered at him as he looked exhausted. Suddenly he stopped, his eyes blazing. We still have nuclear bombs. Rumlow, you can detonate all the shipboard hydrogen bombs and make that be de-smashed to pieces. But, sir, we are still on the space carrier, and we will die if the nuclear bomb explodes. Rumlow's face turned pale. He realized that he was going to be forced to sacrifice. Your death is a well-deserved death. Pierce thought of a way and became polite again. Rumlow, do you still remember the slogan you have been shouting? Shout it again. Rumlow opened his mouth. Long live Hydra! We have been chanting this slogan for hundreds of years. If you cut off one head, 2 new ones will grow. Your sacrifice today will make Hydra grow more. Rumlow. Pierce directly ordered, detonate. Detonate all the shipborne nuclear bombs for me. Soldiers, you must be happy. Even enemies like Superman will be defeated because of you. Rumlow looked at Pierce blankly, not knowing what he was thinking. Yes, sir. He hung up the communication directly. Pierce looked at the only 2 light screens left in front of him and chuckled a few times. Huh. Do you want to resist? It's a pity that you can't. Space carrier. After Rumlow hung up the communication, he turned around and showed a forced smile to his teammates. Everyone, Superman is no match for us. The commander ordered us to retreat. The next moment, dozens of gun points were pointed at his head. Chet, I knew it. He shook his head dejectedly and suddenly rushed towards the nearest person. After a series of gunshots, including Rumlow, there were 7 more corpses in the command room. After all, Rumlow is not Captain America. With 1 against many, he still has little strength. Cleaned up the internal rebellion. The most senior Hydra present took command. All nuclear bombs are ready to detonate simultaneously in 1 minute. He ordered decisively and simply. His eyes were empty and lifeless, as if he didn't care at all that death was coming. However, as soon as he finished speaking, Leon appeared in the command room wearing a Superman uniform. "You guys go on. I'm just here to pack some experimental materials." Leon picked up the two Skrull corpses and disappeared into the command room. Find a few people to come over and pick up the Skrulls, and do it quickly." Leon's words still echoed in the room, but the person was gone, as if the moment just now was just an illusion. The Hydra soldiers looked at each other, remained silent, and then continued the work of detonating the nuclear bomb. When Agent K carried the live broadcast camera and caught up with Leon again, he resumed the posture of holding the space carrier with both hands. The bodies of the Skrulls have been moved to the Sky Fortress. As soon as the live broadcast captured Lion, the number of barges immediately soared. "Superman, my Superman. This is almost to the Kármán line. It's incredible. His speed is too fast, strong, and able to carry missiles. He is the real Superman. I don't know if he is afraid of kryptonite. There should be no kryptonite on the Earth. Oh, there's no need for kryptonite. He'll be dead when the nuclear bomb explodes. That is, although it is great for him to sacrifice himself for others, it is also true that he will be killed soon. This damn Hydra!" The wind roared high in the sky. The sound of the strong wind blowing across Agent K's armor was transmitted to the live broadcast room through the photography equipment. In the live broadcast room, people from all over the world listened to the sound of the wind and seemed to feel a bit of the coldness and silence of No Man's Sky. Looking at the lonely Superman holding the ship and leaving the Earth, as if he was ready to sacrifice himself. Even those who were not optimistic about him fell silent at this time. This scene is truly unforgettable. Maybe even if Superman does die in a nuclear blast, in the future, they will be as old as a yellowed newspaper after seeing this scene. I will also recall that day, in the sky 100,000 meters deep in Warsaw, a figure wearing a Superman uniform carried the lives of millions of people underground and walked to the end alone, surrounded by sunshine and white clouds. The barges in the live broadcast room are almost cleared. The video is silent. Everyone is silent. Suddenly, at a certain moment, the space carrier like a giant beast exploded. A bit of white light suddenly brightened and then spread like it swallowed the sky and the Earth. The hydrogen bomb was detonated. The flames instantly swallowed Superman's figure and rushed into the deep space nearly 100 kilometers away. The high temperature spreads in circles, and the near-Earth satellites are affected by radiation and electromagnetic pulses, causing failures in large pieces. The picture in the live broadcast room also fluctuated and then stopped broadcasting directly. The equipment on Agent K's armor has been specially modified by Tony. Even if it is within 5 kilometers of the nuclear explosion point, it can still continue to shoot and transmit signals. But even so, there is still a short circuit problem. Fortunately, the recording equipment is still running, and subsequent content can be edited and uploaded. However, Agent K had no time to worry about the equipment. She looked worriedly at the smoke and flames billowing in the sky, feeling anxious in her heart. Fortunately, Leon didn't keep her waiting. Soon a hurricane blew out from the center of the explosion, like a tornado rising from the land into the sky. The smoke and clouds in the sky were rolled up by the strong wind, rising, and spreading deeper into the sky. The center of the original explosion revealed an intact Leon. On the internet, the live broadcast room that turned dark quickly became filled with barges after a brief blank period. "How is he? He must be fine, right? God bless, Superman will be safe. Look at his appearance. He is from Korea and our hero." "Fake. You heartless things are still talking nonsense at this time. I just said he will die, he shouldn't go. Superman, he is the Trinity of Superman, the Holy Spirit, and the reincarnation of a god. He will not die. He is destined to lead us into the future. You guys from the Superman cult, don't preach those teachings at this time." The disconnection in the live broadcast room continued, and then suddenly the entire live broadcast room disappeared from the homepage. For a time, people thought Superman was really dead, and mourning was everywhere on the internet. Even in S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters, Pierce, who was watching the live broadcast, was sad for a moment and then looked up to the sky and laughed. However, a few minutes later, an edited video appeared on the homepage. Rising Tide, the return of Superman. People clicked on the link in droves. The next moment, the same cheers erupted in front of hundreds of millions of screens around the world. He's alive. Unscathed. Superman. My Superman. People were not even satisfied with speaking on the internet. They began to go out of their homes, look at each other who went out at the same time, and then cheered and hugged. The city of Warsaw has become a sea of hands. There are countless hands, either slender or rough, or wearing precious jewelry, or stained with dark oil stains. They all screamed and cheered, raising their heads high and throwing everything around them into the air. Superman! Superman! The cheering voices gathered into a sea. After the disaster, people cried with joy, ran, jumped, shouted and cried, or knelt down and covered their faces and cried bitterly. Everyone was venting their emotions, expressing their joy and gratitude. Chapter 101, Punch Man Joy and Celebration, are for ordinary people, for Hydra, and even for high-level officials around the world. Superman emerged unscathed from a nuclear explosion with a total yield of 10 million tons. Instead, it was like a slap in the face. Even mankind's current ultimate weapon is unable to defeat the opponent. Superman can already do whatever he wants on Earth. Nowadays, the only things they can think of that can be used to restrain Superman are ethereal things like morality and emotion. The live broadcast room on the internet is closed. However, satellite images from various countries are still being taken. They all felt their hearts sinking as they looked at Superman suspended at the junction of Earth and space in the overhead shot. In S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters, Pierce's face was as deep as water. Others are worried about the future. He felt that he might have no future. Where did this Superman come from? He must die today. Launch. Keep firing. I also aimed the nuclear bombs from the other two motherships at Superman. He was hysterical. I don't believe he can carry it once and again. He must be at the end of his strength and is just pretending. At this time, Superman's figure moved in the picture. He looked down at the earth beneath his feet, as if looking for something. Suddenly, his body twisted and fell into the atmosphere like a meteorite. What is he going to do? Follow him. Follow me on the satellite picture. Pierce shouted urgently. Lion deliberately flew very slowly, so that a bunch of satellites could catch up with his speed. Finally, he was hovering over Hydra's Polish base. This is a forest. There is no human habitation within dozens of kilometers around. Through the satellite images, Pierce recognized it as his base at a glance. Polish base. Madam Hydra is inside now. Damn it, does this Superman really want to kill us all? He just gritted his teeth a little. At this time, Madam Hydra was in the Polish base. Looking at the figure floating in the air outside, his expression was already as sad as a concubine. That idiot Pierce succeeds more than he does. Quick, try to communicate with Superman and tell him not to be impulsive. Everything can be discussed, and we can surrender. Madam Hydra knows that the situation is over and surrendering now is the right way to go. Moreover, if Superman can be connected, maybe Hydra's defeat may not be a bad thing. She has absolute confidence in her charm. There is no man in this world who can remain unmoved by her charm. However, her order has not yet been conveyed. Superman outside the base has moved. All the satellites paying attention captured the scene. Senior officials from all over the world stood up and held their breath. In the picture, Superman swings his right hand back, making a charge punch gesture. It is actually wrong to say that it is accumulating strength. It looked like he was just flexing his biceps and preparing to punch, just like everyone thought. Superman closed his arms and immediately punched. His figure appeared in front of the Hydra base as if it were moving out of thin air, and a punch that could not be caught by the naked eye hit the ground. Boom! A shock wave comparable to a nuclear bomb explosion appeared. The satellite captured the punch as it was thrown. The ground collapsed into powder as if it had been hit by a meteorite. Huge power poured into the surface of the Earth and spread along the veins of the Earth's crust. With Superman at the center, 100 meters, 1,000 meters, and tens of thousands of meters of land were broken, sunk, and exploded one after another. The next second, countless smoke and dust shot through the air. Invisible shock waves opened up the Earth's surface circle after circle. Hydra's base was as brittle as a paper shell in front of the shock wave and was torn into pieces without any resistance. Such scenes all happen in an instant. Wait for countless people in front of the screen to blink. The images captured by the satellite were filled with dust and visibility was almost zero. According to computer estimates, this diffused dust covered the surrounding 10 kilometers of land. After the shock wave of his punch spreads, the power is simply more terrifying than a medium-sized hydrogen bomb. Someone said dryly. More than that, I figured it out. After he appeared, his fastest speed was over 100 miles per second. The speed of his punch, just now, was only 11 miles per second. It was definitely not full power. If he punched with all his strength, it would definitely be another Tunguska. Explode. What's the difference between this and gods? The scientific researchers couldn't help but sigh unscientifically. The Earth will be his from now on. Some people were stunned. Unparalleled defense, power that can destroy mountains and seas, plus the speed of teleportation. Nothing in this world can restrain him. At this time, a hurricane suddenly blew on the screen. The storm blew away the smoke. Everyone can finally see clearly. The wind was blown by Superman, and he was floating above a bottomless pit. With him as the center, within a radius of 5 kilometers, the ground collapsed from half a meter to dozens of meters. There were large pieces of rubble and rock formations dug up from the ground everywhere. This is no different from a real meteorite falling to the Earth from outer space. Apart from humanoid natural disasters, they could not think of other words to describe this scene. Leaders of various countries looked at Superman on the screen. His figure with flying cloak was suspended in the air, overlooking the original location of the Hydra base. There is only a piece of broken debris mixed with earth and rocks. None of the Hydra members in the base could be found. Killing chickens with a sledgehammer. No, anti-aircraft guns are killing mosquitoes. The leaders wiped the cold sweat from their foreheads and thought to themselves that it was just a little Hydra. Why is it like this? Why is it like this? Unprecedented shock and fear spreading in their hearts enveloped them. In the picture, Superman crossed his arms and nodded, but he was very satisfied with the power of his punch. The vicinity of this Hydra base is deserted, which is perfect for displaying power and demonstrating strength. Presumably, the purpose of deterring the world has been achieved. His figure suddenly skyrocketed and disappeared from all satellite images. In S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters, Pierce slumped down in his chair. It's crazy. The world is crazy. He really is Superman, but we don't have kryptonite. His body was stiff, and his eyes were staring blankly at the screen. All is lost. An hour ago, he was so excited that he scolded Fong Qiu and wanted to lead Hydra to conquer the world stage. But Superman, who was just a clown in his eyes before, ran out and gave him a slap in the face, waking him up from his dream. Hydra is finished, and so is Pierce. But he was unwilling to do so. The flesh on Pierce's face was piled up like old tree bark. He staggered to his feet and connected to the command rooms of the remaining 2 space carriers. Fire. Fire on San Francisco and Sokovia. Fire all the hydrogen bombs on me and detonate them in both cities. Pierce completely lost his mind. He put all his chips on the stage, but lost them all. The gambler's emotions controlled his thoughts. Alexander Pierce, are you crazy? Those are the lives of millions of people. Someone from the representatives of various countries shouted angrily. Crazy, huh? I'm crazy. Pierce sneered. But the world is also crazy, and that Superman is the biggest lunatic. Isn't he going to be a savior and a Superman? I will let him be, and I will personally push him to the throne of the world. The premise is that he can save these 2 cities. Otherwise, haha. Pierce laughed in the middle of the empty conference room. He laughed like a sob, and the laughter got louder and louder, echoing throughout the conference room. The representatives who were tied to the corner could hear Pierce's hysterical laughter. He's really crazy. He was not crazy when he was defeated by Nick Fury in the movie, because he knew this old opponent and was convinced by his defeat. But now everything is developing so bafflingly. Hydra was inexplicably exposed, The space carrier was inexplicably broadcast live, and a Superman appeared who was also inexplicably powerful. Pierce had no idea who was targeting Hydra. It's like there's an invisible hand hidden above the head, controlling everything. It's as if the world is targeting Hydra, telling them to fail no matter what they do. Pierce collapsed. Since he is destined to lose, he would rather lose with the Superman who finally defeated him. That is to say, this is not the DC universe. Otherwise, he would probably have transformed into a second-generation clown on the spot.
No more novels? Take part in the voting. The most requested novels and those with the most likes will be chosen for publication on euroaudiobooks.com. There, I can upload as much as I want without the risk of receiving a strike. Our 18 novels and other content that exceed what is morally acceptable are only published on Patreon or the free novels page. Remember, the site is funded by donations on Ko-fi and Patreon memberships.